watch the feathers fly as the Hawks take on the Crows in the first elimination final. Hawthorn enter their 12th successive final series, creating a new record, but not looking the formidable outfit they were in winning 5 premierships in that time. Adelaide have reached September for the first time in only their 3rd year. A whole state awaits their performance. Hawthorn versus Adelaide in the first elimination final.
Good afternoon and welcome to you around Australia on this Father's Day as the AFL Final Series continues, and this first elimination final between Hawthorn and Adelaide, 4th and 5th as they finished on the ladder. And the winner of this game will go into next week's second semi-final against Carlton after the Blues completed a 2-point victory over Essendon here last night. What a final series we look like having. And of course, magnificent weather once again in Melbourne. We've been blessed lately, and once again the sun shines on us at the premier venue as the Crows play in their first ever final series in just their 3rd year of existence. A great performance by the Crows. But let's take a look at the Crows' season, and well, they've had trouble winning away from home. Good in Adelaide, but away from home, well, 6 of their 8 losses have been in Melbourne, and their only win has been in Melbourne in round 1 a long time ago against Richmond. Okay, well, there's a huge contingent of Adelaide people who've come over across the border to see this game. And we understand that there's about 20,000 have come across to see the Crows in their first final. They're sitting all down there in one little group behind the goalposts. So maybe the away disadvantage for the Crows won't be so marked. But the build-up in Adelaide has been fantastic this week, and Max Stevens takes a look at what's been going on in the last 7 days.
The Crows trained Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday at Football Park. Midweek, Graham Corns placed a media ban on his players, leaving captain Chris McDermott and Tony McGuinness as the spokesman. So early in the week, the race was on to see which media outlet could beat the other.
Hi, I'm Tony Modra. For all your information on the Crows this week, we're watching 7 Nightly News.
The most sought-after Crow, Tony Modra, decided to side with 7.
Oh, they got plenty of experience in finals, of course. But we haven't played a final yet, so you don't know what we're exactly like in a final. We'll go out there full of confidence, and I'm sure we'll play well.
To the other end of the scale, and Stuart Wigney, barely known by Crow supporters, the former Bulldog and Swan will today line up for his 3rd game as a Crow after being in the football wilderness for 18 months.
I understand how guys feel when they're not actually playing with the Crows at any stage of the year, but until you do, you just feel more a part of it, you feel more a part of the team, and it is very difficult, but you've just got to try and put that behind you and get on with what you've got to do, and that's just play well in the local league and push for selection and keep knocking on the door until you knock it down eventually.
Sports psychologist Graham Winter is the man in charge of getting the Crows in the right frame of mind. In other words, he's the guy who'll be telling the players the MCG, in fact, is really Football Park.
When they play at Football Park, they get a lot of attention, obviously a huge crowd. Makes the players very accountable for the little things that they do. And I suppose when they go away, there's not the same focus, there's not the same intensity, and what they're trying to do now, obviously, is work on trying to play the same style, standard of game, same sort of preparation as they go through in Adelaide.
The Crows left Adelaide yesterday afternoon. 21 made the trip. The final 20 is being kept a guarded secret, but one would expect Graham Corns and his selectors will use the same side which beat Collingwood last weekend back home at Football Park.
So the Crows have arrived as an AFL final side in only their 3rd year. Some disappointment for a couple of Hawks who didn't make the side, and well, Scott McGuinness, one of the emergencies, he goes out, and there's Paul Deere, who just a couple of years ago won the Norm Smith medal, best on the ground in a grand final and a premiership side, and there they are watching on today. So this season has been very sad for Paul Deere. Well, let's take a look at Hawthorn's season, and here they are again, steady as you go. They're in their 12th successive finals, which creates a new record. But for the first time this year, they lost 3 matches in a row in the one season, and it's the first time that's happened to them since they last didn't make the finals. Well, Hawthorn have been there and done that. Their preparation for the game, I suppose they're very used to it. Peter Landy takes a look.
From their AFL debut against Hawthorn at Football Park, Crows-Hawks clashes have been lively affairs. The report of Dermy in that fateful match fired up the crowd, but not his teammates, as the Crows crushed Hawthorn in a sensational opening. But this year, the Hawks have gained revenge. pulling off a memorable 17-point win in round 6. Jason Dunstall booting 9 goals as the Crows crowd was stunned. Their only home loss of 93. 7 from Modra simply wasn't enough on the night. Round 21, and again it was Hawthorn. Dunstall bagged a further 8 as the Hawks bounced back from 3 consecutive losses to score by 27 points. Again this time, it shapes up as a battle of the full forwards. Hawthorn is playing at its 12th consecutive final series, with the club determined not to bow out again in the elimination final.
We're there for the 12th time in a row, and I think most of the guys are pretty excited about it, and I think the Crows would be very excited about playing their first final as well. So I think that it's a bit of even match, I think.
Adding spice to the contest will be the joust between the Germans. Darren has been smiling this year, but at Waverley last season it was Andrew's turn with Adelaide up by a point. The Crows are confident they can do it again. Against them is their poor record away from Football Park, winning just 1 match in Melbourne this year, and that was against Richmond in round 1. At least it was at the MCG.
And the Hawks' record against the Crows is the best of the other teams in the finals. They've beaten them both times. In round 6, well, they had an 8-goal straight burst in the second quarter, and in round 21, it was 8-6 to a point at quarter time. So both victories have come in a big burst, one in the first quarter and one in the second quarter. So the start of this game today could be vital. We'll be back soon. Premiership race have changed after the 2 finals played so far. Carlton have moved to outright favouritism, 7-4. Hawthorn's second favourites, 11-4. The Eagles, 3-1, considered a big chance having won yesterday from 6th place. Essendon out to 7-2, and Adelaide at 14-1. But the winner today goes straight to the second semi-final. If it could be Adelaide today, I think they'd be slashed remarkably from the 14-1. Well, over in Adelaide, we have a shot in the Players' Bar, Chris McDermott's pub in Adelaide, and we'll be taking shots of that bar during the game, and no doubt they'll be following the Crows' fortunes with glee, and, well, let's hope for their sake it's glee, and I suppose we might be breaking all television records in South Australia today, with the whole state wanting to know how the Crows are going. I'm glad I'm not running a Sunday market over there today. I don't reckon anybody would turn up. Gerard Healy and Peter McKenna with me. This should be a good game.
It will be a terrific game, Drew. And 14-1 for the flag. The Crows, I think a few of those players would take a bit of that, Gerard.
Well, I wouldn't certainly mind a piece of that action, but I think today the Crows' credibility as a final side is on the line. But if they can continue on again, with their good form of last week and also their second half against Hawthorn, then they're well on the way. And if you have a look at the way they lined up 2 weeks ago against Hawthorn, you'll see perhaps that where they may have to make some internal structural changes. Darren Jarman was perhaps best on the ground against Greg Anderson. He may be used up forward. Brown started on Platten, and quickly that was changed. Bickley came onto him. The ruckman equalised each other, and McDermott may be a problem in the middle against Allen. He was also shifted early in the piece, and there may still be a lingering doubt about his ribs. And of course, Darren Pritchard isn't playing. Tregenza will have a new opponent.
Well, this is the big problem area for Adelaide. When you have a look at this graphic here, Jason Dunstall kicked 9 goals in the first game, 8 goals last time. Ben Hart will not be playing. Well, we don't think he'll be playing anyway. And who will line up on Dunstall? Well, Jamison, I think, will line up there. And if he fails, you've also got Sean Tasker and Nigel Smart. But they'll be lining up with Andrew Gowers, Hawthorn, I'm sure, at centre-half forward today, probably opposed to Pittman, because Allen, the former St Kilda, plays out of the side. But Dunstall is the key man on that Hawthorn forward line.
Yeah, the Crows also have a 4-man half-forward line. The keys are, of course, Modra, who's had a pretty good record against Hawthorn. Bags of 7 and 5. And, of course, Smart was defeated by Taylor, surprisingly, at centre-half forward last time they played.
Well, let's have a look at the teams as they were selected for this week in the final.
Well, the Hawthorn side, it's a very, very powerful side, but they do rely on 3 or 4 players very heavily, and that is Ben Allen in the centre of the ground, most important. He's had a fine season. Jason Dunstall, of course, the champion Hawthorn, and the player on the right-hand wing there, Darren Jarman, always seems to save his best 2 for the Adelaide Crows, and of course Langford's got the big job on Modra.
Well, Ray Jenke has had a bit of form on Modra, but was changed early. I don't think he will. I think Langford will start on Modra. He's one of the keys. I think Jarman will move out of the forward pocket where he's been expected to play, and he may start in the middle. McDermott, as I said, he has been a little bit down, and I think Tasker may be a bit of surprise selection. He may even get the job at full-back.
Well, down on the boundary line in the beautiful sunshine here at the MCG, our boundary men today are Bernie Quinlan and Max Stevens, who's played as many games for the Crows this year as the Max, McGuinness and McDermott. Afternoon, boys.
Good afternoon. They actually call me the Max Scott, back in Adelaide. Exactly. I don't know. Maybe my height. The short and the tall on the boundary today. How do you see it? I mean, conditions here, you couldn't ask for anything better. Typical Adelaide weather, Bernie.
Well, you might say that, Max, but we've had terrific weather in Melbourne over the last fortnight or so. Terrific conditions here at the MCG today, as it was yesterday at Waverley. I think Adelaide will appreciate those conditions, Max, because they're a very good side around midfield. I think it could even end up being a shootout between the full forwards. We've seen a young full forward in the reserves here, Darren Cuthbertson, kick 13 or 14 goals. So conditions here perfect for forward line play.
Well, what we can tell you from an Adelaide point of view, Ben Hardy's definitely not playing. He came over on the 7 o'clock plane last night. He didn't travel with the team. I think it'd be fair to say Rod Jamieson is going to line up on Dunstall. You disagree with that, but I think that'll be the case.
Well, I think they're probably running out of options at fullback with young Ben Hart out of the side. He's had a terrific season playing at fullback. But I think Dunstall wouldn't be all that unhappy with Jamieson coming up and standing beside him.
What about Andrew Jarman? Do you think he's fast enough and good enough to start in the centre? That's the talk, that they're going to whack him in the middle.
Well, that has been a worry. He has played on the forward line a bit this year. But Jarman's form was very good last week against Collingwood. Ended up kicking something like 3 goals and was very important with his very clever handball. So I think he needs to be somewhere on the ball, Max.
And look at these Adelaide people gathering for the game. It's going to be something, and it won't be quite the hostile away environment that they've had many times in their games over in Melbourne. They'll have a lot of friends out there in the stands. While we're with you, boys, I have heard you tip against Adelaide this year, Max. I doubt very much you'll do it today.
No way I'll do it today. I think the crowd here, maybe, as you said, 20,000 South Australians. It's going to be so important that Adelaide doesn't allow Hawthorn to get a start. I'm going to go for the Crows by... Well, hey, amazing. I'm going 12 points, I'll say, 2 goals.
Well, I wanted a $5 bet with you, Maxie.
How much?
I wanted to back the Crows.
You wanted to back the Crows?
Actually, I think the Crows are very close to winning a game here in Melbourne. I'm going for them today.
Okay, mate, thank you.
Okay, 2 selections from the Crows. What about up here?
Well, I'm dying for the day Bernie Quinlan never tips Hawthorn. He's tipped them about once all year. I'm tipping the Hawks to win, but not by a lot.
Yes, it's a huge psychological hurdle for the Crows to overcome. I just don't think they're quite ready. They'll lose by in the vicinity of a goal.
Gee, what do I have? A casting vote? I'll go for the Hawks. We'll be back here soon.
On today's finals flashback, we go back to the 1982 first semi-final when Hawthorn took on North Melbourne at the MCG. The Kangaroos' Malcolm Blight kicked his 100th goal for the season. But that was the end of North's joy.
He's kicked it after the siren at quarter time.
On came an 18-year-old red-headed kid named Dermot Brereton for his first senior game. He kicked 5 goals and helped Hawthorn to an easy 52-point win.
May not. Yes, it's made it. It's a goal. Good goal. Kicked by Dermot Brereton. His first goal today. Brereton's there and takes the mark only a few metres out, and it will be a 15-metre penalty. And then over the top to Matthews, who shepherds beautifully. Here's one for Dermot. Great goal. Toward the half-forward zone where Tuck takes up a position. Can't take the mark. Brereton's a chance for his 5th goal. 45 metres out from goal. Brereton goes forward, and he's put it through. Another goal kicked by Dermot Brereton, his 5th goal, and he certainly made his mark this afternoon.
It's the name of the game.
Esme Watson, the backbone
MCG, and there are the Crows representing South Australia for the first time in an AFL final, and they came onto the ground. Plenty of booing from the Hawthorn fans, and I suppose maybe Victorian fans generally, but I can promise you viewers over in South Australia, plenty of cheering from a great contingent of South Australians over here. We believe something in the vicinity of about 20,000. And look at those Crows colours waving proudly here at the MCG. Tony Modra, second leading goal scorer this year, and how will he go today in the shootout against Jason Dunstall? Okay, well, finals time at this time of the year also means medals time, and during the week the votes for the Morris medal were counted. Craig Willis was there.
It certainly was a gala night for more than 300 players, officials and parents who travelled from all over the state to attend the Morris medal count. And it wasn't only the future stars of the AFL who were there. Throughout the crowd were a few familiar faces who'd come along to recognise and applaud the best and fairest player in the Victorian State Football League Under-18 competition. Special guest for the night was Geelong defender Tim McGrath, who won the medal in 1988. McGrath is one of an elite list of AFL players, which includes Tony Liberatore of Footscray, Melbourne's Greg Healy, and North Melbourne's Wayne Schwass, to have won a Morrish medal. McGrath says it's a terrific honour for a young footballer.
Considering the draft and things like that they have now, and hopefully, a league club's going to pick him up and help him further his career. But the experience he would have gained in the under-18s and that this year and previous years will really help him, I think.
It didn't take long to sort out the winner. 18-year-old Dean Watson from the Southern Stingrays dominated proceedings and polled 25 votes, 7 ahead of his nearest rival. And it certainly was a popular win for the Year 12 student, who appears destined for a successful career at senior level. He has already played with Essendon in the reserves, which he says gave him invaluable experience.
It's much faster, the game, much stronger, more physical, and just standards much better.
And the AFL has again underlined its commitment to the under-18s. According to VSFL General Manager Ken Gannon, the competition can only go forward.
Yeah, we've got a few problems that we have to iron out. We've got to get to our travelling problems with the countrysides to make sure that they can really perform at their utmost. And we've got to get a greater understanding of the pressures on these young players to be drafted at such an early age. And I'm sure with a bit of understanding and cooperation we'll get there.
Only 2 Hawks haven't played a final and only 1 Crow has in the AFL. Down on the boundary line with his Mitsubishi Motors ground report, Max Stevens.
Thanks, Phil. Well, as we said earlier, ideal conditions, and I must say you'd swear you're at Football Park with a strong contingent of South Australians. First up, let's have a look at the wind. It's gusting up to 10 k's, swirling around the ground, no goal advantage. The ground condition is excellent. The forecast, fine, mild and sunny. Current temperature 19 degrees, expected top 20 degrees, and the humidity is 31%.
So just a perfect day for football. Gary Ayres won the toss for Hawthorn and going to the right-hand end.
And Gary Ayres joins an elite band of players who have played 28 finals, along with Hutchison and, of course, Chris Mew. Michael Tuck is the leading finals contender or player with 39 finals, so he's 10 in front of the next group. It includes Bruce Doyle, Luke Matthews and Wayne Schimmelbusch. So he's well in front of a lot of his opponents today.
There's a man on screen. We just saw Gary Ayres, who has been pissed on the ground in a grand final for Hawthorn on 2 occasions. And well, he's been through final series 12 years in a row. The Hawks have been in the final series. Adelaide interchange. Gerard looks to be David Brown,
Sean Tasker.
and Sean Tasker. So there's Glenn Nugent going on to interchange.
Well, that surprises me because I thought Glenn Nugent would go straight onto the wing against Simon Tregenza.
And Shane Crawford also.
So they're going with a very mobile interchange, as have the Adelaide Crows. Andy Collins in the middle, just shaking hands with his adversary for today, as we'd expect. Tony McGuinness. Darren Jarman starting in the middle, as we'd also expect. And Chris McDermott lining up on the half-back flank, picking up Andy Gowers.
And Stephen Lawrence lining up at centre-half forward, and that's to probably counter the height of Pittman.
Bickley in the centre looks to be, well, he's manning up alongside Ben Allen, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him quickly go on to Jarman. Baxter's on Jarman at present.
So Andrew Jarman in the middle, Darren Jarman for Hawthorn out on the wing on Tregenza. Jamison at fullback as picked to play on Dunstall. Still working out some positional changes. Lee goes back onto Hudson.
And that, of course, leaves Johnny Platten out on the half-forward flank. Strange that he's not in the middle. Alan Joyce obviously wanted to counter the penetration of the Crows on ballers. Not surprising to see Jarman in the middle, Andrew Jarman for the Crows. His form there last week was quite good, particularly forward of the centre where he was very damaging with both hand and foot, kicking 3 goals for the day.
The elimination final gets underway. The roar goes up at the MCG as they face each other, and Wren wins first up. Jarman goes down. It's gathered out of the middle by Ayres, who started in the engine room of the game. Kick out wide and out of bounds on the 50. And that is Darren Jarman, belted down in the very first contest for the ball in the centre. And this reminds us of Dermot Brereton in that grand final in '89.
Yes, it looks like the weed coming charging through. Wayne Wiedemann doing a good job there.
And it looks as though Jarman is going to be helped. He's coming out to the wing. I thought he might have been going on to interchange. It's going to be an Adelaide free kick back here with the ball, and Tony McGuinness with the free. Well, South Australia won the State of Origin at the MCG. Can the Crows beat Hawthorn at the MCG?
Well, the kick to centre wing. It's thumb clear. Tregenza to Chris McDermott. McDermott a quick kick to half forward. Wiedemann underneath it, getting the hoops on the ground as he taps it back towards centre wing. Picking it up is Mark Visca. In towards half forward, but a free kick will go the way of Ray Jenke.
And Ben Allen has quickly gone on to Andrew Jarman in the middle.
Now the short kick to Jason Taylor. Or Taylor went for the handball. Umpire's called play on here. He chips it across to Greg Deere. Deere swinging onto the left foot. He's going to kick it wide out to the half-forward line. Favours Wren, and Wren can't take the mark. He's got backup support from Jarman. Now Anderson. A quick kick by Anderson to centre wing. Bickley onto Tregenza. Oh, Tregenza, the Hawthorn player, went straight past the ball. Chance for the Crows at half-forward as they pounce it on top of it, pushing the back. Full kick to the Hawks, and at the bottom of the bat was Gary Ayres.
And it's a 50-metre penalty. It's got to go back to Ayres, but he'll go from the back of the centre square to the front of it, just as Baxter was dashing downfield. Ayres, I think, still too far out to score. But in the heat of this game, and certainly Hawthorn looking to get an advantage at the start, like they did the last time just a couple of weeks ago. Kick by Ayres, Dunstall can't take the mark. Platten in doubt with an ankle injury all week, but has started on the ground, close to the boundary line. Umpire puts the whistle away. Chance for Dunstall. Hand pass is good to Gowers. Hurriedly onto the right boot, a centering kick. Bickley is there. Eventually McGuinness, just outside the 50. Jarman straight at it. Kick by Darren Jarman, no distance. Gowers, losing ground in possession, comes back to Baxter. Hand pass in. Collins slips.
Free kick. It's played up the ground. That's an advantage free kick. Played further afield to Andy Collins. Baxter was interfered with. Now short kick comes into Greg Deere. Now Deere will kick from about 48 metres. He should take his time here. He should be able to make the distance. Not noted it, Gerard, as a long kick.
No, he hasn't kicked all that many goals in his AFL career.
Well, some big, deep breaths by Greg Deere. He'll kick right on 50. It's out to the left, but it's now swinging back towards the goals and off hands for the first score of the game. A rush behind to the Hawks.
The Crows playing a very tall half-forward line. Wayne Wiedemann on a flank being picked up by Ayres. Nigel Smart's at centre half-forward, but Ray Jenke's got the job on him, and Randall Bone also completing a fairly tall trio being picked up by Jason Taylor.
McDermott up to centre wing. Wiedemann's there. I don't know that it's booing, Pete. I think it's weed from all the Adelaide fans. Wiedemann beats the Ayres tackle, got rid of him easily. The kick towards the 50. Nixon got back there. Off hands to Liptak. Puts it out in front. Cooper gets it away from Bone. Langford up the ground. Anderson a good tackle. Langford keeps going. Desperation by Nixon. The umpire comes in and will ball it up. No goals as yet. The Hawks one behind Adelaide yet to score. And at the heat of the start of the game, interesting that Hawthorn should have on the bench Shane Crawford and Glenn Nugent. They're only two players who haven't played a final before.
Punched away by Greg Deere. This is Mark Bickley. After him is Allen. McGuinness. And a push in the back to Tony McGuinness. Way out there at half forward.
Andy Collins with the big job on the Crows champ. Or it's going, in fact, to Bickley. Bickley in towards the pocket. Langford and Modra clears their heads. Here's Wigney, former Footscray player, but he can't control it. And the ball is forced over the line in that forward pocket for Adelaide. Shane Crawford, the youngster. Alan Joyce giving him time to settle down on the bench as it's up the ground. Modra versus Langford. It hits the behind post, so it'll be another throw in right beside that behind post for the Crows. Plenty of Adelaide supporters here, and they're making plenty of noise.
Ah, yes, this definitely has atmosphere. The kick by Tregenza is smothered. Comes to Liptak. He's right in front. Can't get boot the ball. Harassing of Cooper. Oh, terrific by Condon. Magnificent defence. The kick out wide. It sits up and goes back over the head of Jarman. Grabbed by Tregenza. Now Andrew Jarman. Centering kick is perfect. Bone marks.
That's one of the values of Andrew Jarman. So pinpoint with his disposal. If he's not put under any pressure, as he was there, plenty of time to move. Had a look up. And what a marvellous kick it was.
Bit unlucky for Darren Jarman when the ball sat up and went straight back over him. But could this be the first goal of the final? Bone, 55 metres out. Oh, it's good, it's home!
At the back, Hall there also. Play on calls the umpire, taken away by Lee. Scott Lee to the half-back flank. Bickley, well played by Bickley. Read it well, brings it in towards half-forward. Wiedemann couldn't take the mark. Socket away by Cooper. Tackle on Anderson. Throws it away to Wiedemann. Wayne Wiedemann onto the left boot and a booming kick into half-forward. Modra! Can't mark, and coming across the front is Jenky with a great mark.
Well, Wiedemann's had plenty to say at the start of this game, knocking down Jarman and a couple of possessions early. Collins up towards centre wing. Gowes has to wait. McDermott there with one hand. Comes to the back. Pittman to McDermott. Through to Liptak. Short pass up towards the 50. Smart, a good pick up. Gets past Jenky easily. Booms a long kick. Oh, terrific kick. Yes!
They lead by 11 points as Jarman comes through the centre. Down towards half-forward. Smart versus Jenky. Jenky goes to ground, and the umpire says a push in the back. And is this going to be reversed? No, it's not. So Ray Jenky at half-back. And welcome back into the side for the Hawks now to centre wing. Lawrence and Pittman, punched away by Pittman, taken by Paul Cooper. Cooper to half-forward. Hudson at the back against Lee. Hudson with no backup support. Hand pass. As eventually Bickley receives from Lee. McDermott was the player who gave the first hand pass. The Crows looking a little bit quick at the moment. Liptak goes to ground. It's a loose ball with Darren Jarman. An ordinary hand pass by Jarman. Chance for Tregenza. A real chance here for the Crows as Randall Bone marks at 50. Well, a bad skill error by Darren Jarman has set this up as Bone kicked a beautiful goal a moment ago from 55.
Full credit to the Crows, the way they're attacking the ball and also supplying some pressure against the man. They're really creating some fumbling errors from Hawthorn.
So Randall Bone from directly in front for his second goal, the youngster. An ordinary kick. Anderson, Wiedemann it was in fact, has given away the free kick and pushing the back.
There's been a change made down in the Hawthorn forward line. Cooper's gone onto the quicker Wiedemann and Gary Ayres has gone back onto Wigney. A little bit slower Ayres for Wiedemann.
Taylor up to Jenky.
Gone.
Jenky's been prominent early, but he's dragged down by Wigney. Off the ground goes Baxter. Bickley, a good player early for the Crows. Wigney again. Beautiful hand pass to Wiedemann. Beats a man, straightens for goal, but misses. But by gee, the Weeds doing a good job.
Yes, I thought Wiedemann's form last week was quite good also. He's such a difficult player to match up because he's so big and strong, and yet he is also very quick. In fact, speaking to a couple of Crow supporters, they said he had his best game ever in Melbourne playing against Hawthorn in round 21, so he's obviously continuing on good form.
Langford brings it out to the half-back line. Ayres dives on top of the ball. He's going to make an attempt to get it out. He does so to Jason Taylor. Taylor, close to the boundary line. He's quite happy to see it roll over, but Hawks under pressure early in the game. Adelaide doing very, very well. Deere versus Smart. Deere with the left hand gives it straight to Anderson. Here's a big chance for the Crows again. Randall Bone, hand pass to Liptak. Liptak to Modra. Modra straightens up from 35 metres and Tony Modra goes bang, and he's kicked the goal.
So one of the unsung heroes of the Adelaide Crows has been in particularly good form.
Hawthorn needing this. Hudson going for their first goal. 48 metres out. Good distance. A poster. 2 behinds Hawthorn. 3-1 Adelaide. Dermot Brereton looks on. Graham Corns there in the coach's box. Jamison, who lined up at fullback on Dunstall, looking for his options to kick in.
Hawthorn may just have to have a look at Liptak, creating a lot of problems there. Condon in an unfamiliar role at half-back.
Well, this is Pittman. Paid the mark at half-back onto Lee. Lee looking out there for Bickley. Mark Bickley at centre wing. Brings it in towards half-forward. Jenke versus Smart. Punched away by Jenke. Probably had the better of that duel so far. The Hawks under enormous pressure. There's Rodney Maynard and Ben Hart on his left looking on. Unfortunately, those two players, two regular players, but they're out through injury. Here's Andy Collins going to ground. It's bundled away, taken by Liptak. Bickley and Allen. Ben Allen ends up with the ball, gets in a quick hand pass. Ricky Nixon gets all sorts of trouble, and eventually the ball rolls across the line, half forward for the Adelaide Crows.
Bickley 7 possessions in the opening 13 minutes. Stephen Kernahan, the Carlton skipper, watching on. The winner of this game will play Carlton next week in the second semi. Here goes Greg Anderson, a raking left footer. All their goals have come from outside 50, but not this time. That's out of bounds on the full. Chris Langford. Oh, smart. And hasn't he been good since they moved him forward this season to play on the forward line?
Yes, he's becoming one of the best centre-half forwards in the AFL. If he continues to develop, he may well end up taking Wayne Carey's mantle as the best. He's been so impressive of late.
He was All-Australian as a defender. Long and high kick. It gets the distance? No, not quite. Wren, but might have got the distance for a behind. We'll wait on it. Players have stopped.
Well, they should have been holding the ball because he really made no attempt to get rid of it. That's what the Hawthorn players were saying in that instance. Umpire not bouncing it there. Now Wren. Oh, great play by Wren. Tried to grab it out of the pack. Wiedemann crashes his way through, then drops the ball. And the umpire said exactly that. A free kick to Greg Deere. And that could be 50. Bad play by Wiedemann. We must handball that ball back on the full.
Well, there's no need for it. There's Mark Mickett on screen. No need for that indiscretion because everything's going the way of the Crows.
So Greg Deere to the half-forward line. Lawrence in front. And the umpire's found a free kick now. Dunstall's on the lead. He comes out. Hudson's there also. Paul Hudson marks again. Now he missed one from the same position a moment ago. Very strong overhead, Gerard.
Yes, he's a talented player. Perhaps not quite as consistent as many at Hawthorn would like yet, but still very young in his development. And it's always very difficult to learn from your mistakes in goal kicking at the MCG because the wind just swirls around. You really can't judge it at all.
So Paul Hudson for the Hawks first. He kicks it goal, and I think he might have kicked this one. He has.
Down to McGuinness, comes back for Hawthorn. Collins throws it over his shoulder. No whistle on the play. It clears the centre square. Ben Allen leads the race. He's been excellent again this season. Hand pass comes out from Visca, who's the player picking up Platten, and the ball out of play. That goal by Hudson, the Hawks' first today, was his 50th of the season. He's only the second Hawk to reach 50. Of course, the other is Dunstall, who's 117. Jarman. Just boot to ball. Bickley through Wren. Tregenza. Wiedemann looking the other way. Jarman has decked Tregenza. Advantage goes to Wiedemann. He runs on with it. The kick wide for Wigney. And the ball out of play about 35 metres out from goal. Greg Williams in the stand with Stephen Kernahan. And the Blues taking great interest in this.
Let's just have a look at this one. Darren Jarman perhaps just trying to square up for the opening bounce.
Liptak doing a lot of damage. Puts it out to McGuinness. Now Smart. Now Anderson. He hooks it back at goal. Greg Anderson. Oh, good try. Just misses.
Well, I'm a little bit surprised at the way Hawthorn have lined up. They have moved their side around willy-nilly. Baxter, last time they played in round 21, completely dominated Liptak, and he, in the early piece, has been quite damaging for the Crows. And Darren Jarman on the opposite wing, getting beaten by Tregenza at the moment. Last time they played, he was BOG on Greg Anderson.
At the back is Darren Jarman, beaten to it by his brother Andrew. Tregenza chips it across to Greg Anderson. And looking good, Adelaide. Anderson sprints clear away from Johnny Platten, brings it in towards full forward. Modra and Langford. Punched down by Langford. Liptak has kicked the behind. A big opportunity there, Jared.
So there's got to be something done here if you're a Hawthorn follower, because Liptak really is just cutting up Anthony Condon. He just hasn't got the experience as a half-back. Baxter was excellent on him. Baxter at the present time picking up Jarman.
I made the comment last week against the Bears. Condon is not a backman, and he's not quick enough, as we see Ricky Nixon coming through the pack, and he was thrown down. Advantage paid to Cooper. Ben Allen, centre of the ground. Allen's a long kick. He'll look for Dunstall. There he is at the back, Dunstall. Got into the back of his opponent. Platten looking for the hand pass. Handballs away to himself. Then goes to try and get it again, Johnny Platten. Dunstall's there with backup support. Back to Platten. Platten on the left foot. In towards the pocket. They race at it and thump it away. Nigel Smart's up there at halfback. He goes to ground. Gets in a hand pass. Over there to Pittman. Further field. Comes back to Nigel Smart as he brings it in towards half forward. It clears their heads. Taken away by Condon. Condon chips it. Darren Jarman. Back up support from Cooper. They've got loose men everywhere, the Hawks. Ben Allen brings it in towards the forward line. Hall at the back. And Tony Hall has taken a very good mark.
Yes, we just get the feeling that the Hawks are just starting to settle down after the initial onslaught by the Crows. And this is what finals is all about. We saw it last night in a magnificent game between Essendon and Carlton, where one would take the supremacy for 15 minutes, then there'd be a fight back. And Tony Hall presents a bit of a problem for the Crows because he's quite mobile, not quick, but very strong, as we know, overhead. Also played a number of premierships with Glenelg, being coached by Graham Corns.
So after the initial onslaught, as Gerard said, the Hawks starting to steady a little bit. This will be a handy one for them. It's still a difficult shot. 45-degree angle. Tony Hall, as he props as he comes in, he's trying to ask the umpire where the mark is. He didn't veer off the mark.
A smart play by Rashudo there, just sneaking back.
So Tony Hall, a vital kick. Out to the right, it starts to swing. It might be behind, though. It is. And he has missed. A Hawthorn forward pocket player.
The other change surprising. Jason Taylor had the better of Nigel Smart 2 weeks ago, and yet he's picked up bone, and Ray Jenke is also getting well beaten by Nigel Smart.
Rashudo's hand pass to Jamison, who gave it to him in the first place. Up towards the centre of the ground. Taylor, good mark in front. Out wide to Nixon. Kicked by Nixon off the left. Hudson. 70 metres from goal, Paul Hudson. Dunstall leads from near the square. In that direction, the kick. Dunstall up. At the back, Platten, 40 metres out. Hasn't made the distance. Hall in the goal square. Offhand's a terrific pickup. McGuinness. He clears, not looking for a player, looking for the boundary line and finding it.
5 possessions already to Tony McGuinness. Andy Collins perhaps just needs to tighten up a little bit. A bit of inequality there with Adelaide dominating possession of the ball, but we come to expect that. They average 40 more handballs than the average in the AFL competition.
Jarman, McDermott and DeLee up towards the centre of the ground. Darren Jarman for Hawthorn, back towards the 50. Gower's outnumbered. McDermott, a good mark, but a push out. Gower's a long way out. Hall leads to the pocket. And it hits him right on the chest. Tony Hall, those premierships for Glenelg in 85 and 86 under Graham Corns. And he's added 2 more premierships in his time at Hawthorn. So a most decorated player. Tough one this from the boundary line. Hardly a gap between the goalposts from there. Good. Great kick.
I say, leave him not.
Matera kick, perhaps one of the most sensational goals of the day yesterday with a 50-metre boomerang kick.
Kick in by Ayres, big pack gathers. Cooper at the front loses control. Smart to Wiedemann. Some sort of a hand pass out. Nixon. His kick towards the centre of the ground. Gowes goes past him, but Gowes gets it away from McDermott illegally. Free kick to the Adelaide skipper. A bouncing ball. Plenty of Crows there. Anderson. Smart back to Anderson. Off the cricket pitch he goes. Straight up the centre. Modra wrestling with Langford. Comes to Modra. Oh, Langford did well. Interception. Wigney caught right in the goal square, holding the ball.
Andy Collins to the half-back line. Ben Allen and Greg Orr. Greg Deere copped it across the neck. So there'll be a free kick to Deere as a mark anyway. And he gives it off to Ben Allen. Allen chips it to the centre of the ground. Paul Cooper sprints clear. He'll look down there for Dunstall and Hudson. But chipping across the front is Chris McDermott. Gower's not doing enough there at half forward for the Hawks. Well played by McDermott. He kicks it wide, 2-on-1. And Tony McGuinness gets there first. McGuinness looking good. Sprints clear. Still going. Tony McGuinness onto the left foot. In towards half forward, but Jason Taylor read it well and took a lovely mark.
Crows leading by 7 points. 3 minutes to quarter time. Bouncing ball to Deere. Recovered from that bit of a knock. Langford well up the ground. A chase by Bone. Langford's kick to centre half forward. Platten. Amazing he's even out there, John Platten. You'd have thought his ankle injury in Brisbane last week would have seen him out. But he worked 3 times a day at the gym and has recovered. High with a hook. Right on the behind post, a mark to Hall. Yes, in the field of play, the mark paid. Plays back quickly. Gowers, but the umpire's having nothing of that, and it'll come back to Hall. Well, he's kicked one from an impossible angle already. He might have another go.
Yes. Well, he's definitely got to run out this time and open up the goals and snap this one, Gerard, doesn't he?
I don't think there's any doubt about that one.
The camera looking right along the 4 posts there. There's 4 posts in one. Hall
hooked it.
A behind.
You could just see the way the ball was dropped. He didn't quite make a correct connection there.
One straight kick the difference. 2.5 minutes to quarter time.
So Rodney Jamieson with the big job on Dunstall. He's kept him goalless so far in this quarter. 2.5 minutes to go till quarter time. Jamieson, a huge job for him today as far as Adelaide are concerned. Beautiful kick to the half-back line. And a good mark to Pittman. In fact, it's been paid. It will be brought back.
There's no advantage when there's a mark being paid.
So David Pittman chips it wide. They're getting a lot of loose players, Adelaide. This is Mark Bickley in towards half forward. Nigel Smart. It's tapped down. Taken by Darren Jarman. Smothered off the boot. Greg Deere a chance. Can't control the ball. Anderson is there. Now Jarman. Well played by Darren Jarman. Gets it to Baxter. On to Ellen. Now where's Dunstall? There he is. Bang! Hits him right on the chest. And you could have... Well, that's scripted, that, Gerard.
Magnificent forward play. There wouldn't be a defender in Australia that would stop that pass, so not a black mark against Rod Jamieson. The only way you can stop it is to block the ball up in the middle of the ground there. And we see Ben Allen just getting away from Bickley. He's done that quite a bit this quarter. Players playing wide of each other in the middle.
Dunstall kicks and puts it right to the middle, scores a level.
Well, this is a pretty tight tussle, but I just think that Hawthorn are erring somewhat by allowing it to be quite an open range game in the middle of the ground. When Adelaide runners start getting some room, there's no greater attacking force in the AFL. And yet Jarman's getting some big possessions. Bickley and Allen are playing wide of each other. Condon isn't, Collins I should say, isn't picking up McGuinness, and that's what will result. Lots of goals at either end.
Scores level. Well, the Crows kicked the first 3 and the Hawks have kicked the last 3. Wiedemann's hand pass back to Jarman. He was under pressure. Wren goes back to Bickley. Standing start from the centre circle. Hawthorn in front, and Ayres takes the mark.
Darren Jarman just not quite mastering the ball as cleanly as we've come to expect.
Kick by Ayres to centre wing. Gowers has to come from behind. McDermott just tips the ball out.
Well, Peter, you're a life member of Hawthorn. It's a bit surprised that Darren Jarman's on the opposite wing as to a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, I certainly am. And, well, although he's had the chances to get into the play a couple of times, Jared, he's just not with it so far.
Anderson's kick punched down to the front by Jenke, who's playing without the mask that he trained in during the week. Nixon goes wide to Ayres. Here's Darren Jarman. Switch to the far side. Allen, who set up the last goal for Dunstall. Allen from centre wing. Distance with the kick. Wide for Hall. And the ball out of play. Rasciuto, an amazing story in his first season. He's still just 18 years of age. He was playing Teal Cup just last year.
Pittman and Lawrence, or a free kick to Pittman. Bad play, Stephen Lawrence.
A good play for Pittman also, just taking the front position.
As the siren sounds to end a very eventful first quarter here at the MCG. Scores all tied up. 3 goals for 22 Hawthorn. Adelaide 3-4 22 also.
Very, well, maybe inept display early in that first quarter. And also Chris Langford was saying that the other side of the ground is the defensive side of the ground. He will be kicking the majority of the kicks out that side of the ground. So the on-ballers must be aware that that's where he's going.
And Tony McGuinness is one of the match winners in this game, must be curtailed. He's getting away from Collins a little bit. He's had 7 possessions in that first quarter, Collins only the 3. And you'll notice that a lot of his kicks are coming in defence. There was that one magnificent attempted boomerang that did hit the post. You can see that there up on the left-hand side of screen.
Some of the leading stats in the first quarter. Ayres 7 kicks, 1 handball. Allen 6 and 1. Darren Jarman 4 and 3. But for the Crows, Anderson 8 and 2. Bickley 7 and 3.
So we wait for the bounce in the centre. Greg Deere versus Sean Wren. Wren shielding his eyes from the sun. Left of screen the Hawks, right of screen Adelaide. As it's tapped down by Deere towards half forward. Oh, they've got to make a move as Anderson takes it away in towards half forward. Jenke read it well, and I think that Jenke's doing all right.
Yes,
Nigel Smart. On to Ayres, who's playing a great game for the Hawks. Chips it across to Condon now. Ricky Nixon can run off and receive here, but he elects to wait back. Here's Lawrence. Oh, he's dropped the mark. Oh, he did drop that. Hand pass across to Condon. Condon chips it into Gowers, and a free kick to Gowers. No, thought he copped it in the back. So did the crowd as it's kicked away by McGuinness to centre wing, and that was a free kick.
Wasn't that a great example of back play there by Cooper? Just at the last second taking the front spot on the weed.
Paul Cooper to half forward. Lawrence underneath it. Tapped away to Bickley. Taken away by Tasker. On to Tregenza. Tregenza and Jarman. Jarman's got him. And the umpire said too high. Now the advantage made. Tony McGuinness sprints clear. Brings it back in front of goal. Modra and Langford. And Modra has marked a good mark in front of Chris Langford. Good play by McGuinness.
Yes, good turnover there by the Adelaide Crows. And all because Stephen Lawrence has got soft hands at centre half forward. He should have been up above the pack and taken that mark. And yet the Crows have turned it round. McGuinness bringing the ball down and setting it up for Modra. Good mark out in front under some pretty severe pressure.
Tony Modra from the forward pocket. This would be a real team lifter early in this second term as he kicks. So he's hooked it. Did it swing back? Yes, a goal! Tony Modra has put it through, and the Crows lead by 6 points.
And plenty to cheer about over at Chris McDermott's pub over in Adelaide. There was a turnover affected at half back for the Crows. Thought a little bit lucky to get that free kick, but the advantage was paid. Would have been there anyway. But good work and a solo effort there by Modra.
Crows by a goal. 50-50 in the middle. Bickley couldn't get his hand pass clear. Allen couldn't get his kick clear. But McGuinness can. Condon did all right. Kick forward. Anderson a chance here for the Crows. Unmarked out wide is Bone. He goes to Bone, who was 20 metres in the clear.
Well, Bone started the game magnificently, but I just thought he lost his way at about the 15-minute mark of the first quarter. if he convert this, well, he's certainly done his job with 2 first-half goals.
Started his league career in the AFL last year, just a couple of games. Kicked a goal with his first kick in the AFL, and that's a beautiful kick. Crows lead by those 2 goals.
Yes, he's kicked 9 goals for the season now, Randall Bone. And once again, we see Matthew Liptak coming into his own here, just with a nice little shepherd there, giving Anderson plenty of time to pinpoint that pass. Had a good look, got it to Bone, who did kick a nice goal. Nugent up on the boundary line, preparing to come on.
So the centre-bounce again. Deere wins it. Lawrence is, they've got to make a move at centre-half forward, Hawthorn. I cannot believe it. As the hand pass comes out to Wren, he's caught with the ball. Taken by Baxter, he drops it. Quick hand pass by Wren. That was out to McDermott. It's up in the air. Tregenza underneath it. He had to show courage, and he did. But hand pass comes across to Anderson. Anderson to half forward. Nigel Smart gets away from Jenkins. Cop one in the back. Liptak is there. Now Smart. And a free kick to Liptak for too high. But getting back to centre forward, they have to make a move, Hawthorn, and I'd take Lawrence off, Gowers to centre forward, and bring young Crawford on. They're getting nothing out of centre forward as we see Matthew Liptak from 45 metres. A good-looking kick, a beautiful kick, it's a goal.
Monday on Real Life. Dress sense. Every woman's right or sheer provocation?
How about it?
Is she asking for it when she dresses like this? Or this? Or this? Our spy cameras check out the everyday war of the sexes.
Don't be a victim.
And is it worth the investment?
I had absolutely no idea. I thought I'd be fully covered.
The bitter truth about health insurance. Find out what it doesn't cover. Real Life, 6:30 Monday on 7.
Well, the goal by Liptak completes 3 goals in 4 minutes to start the second quarter for Adelaide, and they lead by those 18 points. Liptak gets the hand pass out. Bickley, 55 metres from goal. Long kick. Modra at the back. The ball bounces out. Yes, out. And we'll have a throw in.
I think also Liptak, Peter, something's got to be done there, just getting away from Condon on too many occasions. The problem when a ball player goes to a defensive position, sometimes his mind is so concentrating on winning the ball that he just loses his man for a split second.
From the boundary throw in. McGuinness gets it forward. There's Liptak and the ball out again.
Gerard, the whole point is Anthony Condon, his greatest weakness is his pace. Now Liptak's very quick. And why is he playing on him?
Nugent's come on the ground on Anderson on the wing. Real mess here. Oh, Wiedemann won the hard ball. Here's Nugent with Anderson. And the ball back out of play.
Well, I'd try and swap the wingers through. Get Nugent onto Simon Tregenza. Darren Jarman over onto Greg Anderson.
40-22. The Crows leading early in the third quarter. Clever by Taylor. Condon up towards centre wing. Platten punched down by Visca. Lawrence won a reprieve, came back this week, a centering kick. Allen was good to come over the top of Bickley.
On to Nugent. Nugent, a wild hand pass. It might come off. Jarman caught, holding the ball.
Good decision. He didn't have a chance to get rid of that one.
Oh, I don't know about
Very
that.
poor handball, though, from Nugent coming onto the ground for his first possession. And you know when the ball hits the centre wicket area.
I thought he had a chance to get that in, but a bit lucky, Darren Jarman. Centre of the ground. Greg Deere taken away by Liptak again. He's killing him. Liptak in towards Modra. Langford in front. It's a loose ball. Socket away by Ayres. Hand pass over the top was Condon. On to Langford. Langford sprints clear. Beautiful kick to Baxter and finds him on centre wing.
Baxter off the left, up towards half forward. A fine mark taken by Rasciuto. It's Visca. Back he goes to McDermott. Up towards centre half forward. Smart. Threw his hands off to Jenke. Jenke clears McDermott, does he? Gowers punches from behind and then applies the tackle. It comes back to McDermott. Has done well, the skipper. Centre wing, Collins with courage, but he bobbled the mark. Down he goes from Jarman. He's hurt Collins. Andrew Jarman for the Crows. Looked at McGuinness, thought there was a better option, and the option is Modra who marks. Plenty of trouble here for Andy Collins back at centre wing.
There we see him just taking his eyes off the ball at the last moment, spilled it, then copped a solid one from Jarman, and he would have a problem with his right shoulder, I think.
Modra has kicked a couple to take his season tally to 121. That is away to the right. There's a real bay of Adelaide supporters behind those goals at the right-hand end, and they were quiet that time. 41 to 22.
Yes, it's been all Adelaide in this term. They're playing very, very well, and there's the Adelaide supporters, plenty of them, and they're in full voice. Their side's playing a great quarter here. Gary Ayres has been through this many, many times before, and he's certainly not letting them down today either, Ayres. The half-back line. Jason Taylor against Sean Wren. Tregenza caught by Jarman. Back to Wren. Wren further afield. This is Wigney. Wigney to Bickley. Now Smart. And Nigel Smart sets sail for home. And he's kicked it. Great play by Adelaide.
Hawthorn scoreless in this quarter, and Adelaide have added 4 goals won after the scores had been level. Platten. Out of the play. Allen takes it up towards the 50. Goes to Hall. Good mark.
Ben Allen just showing there exactly why he is some people's favourite for the Brownlow medal. He's surprisingly quick, and we saw him sprint away with the football there, but not just blazing away. Magnificent pinpoint pass to set Tony Hall up once again.
And Dunstall led, but Allen went over him to Hall, who was the decoy, who stayed back near the goal square. Boy, do the Hawks need this. Looks all right. A goal. Hall has kicked 2 goals too. That's the Hawks' first score in this quarter after 10 minutes.
I think something has to be done about Darren Jarman. He's getting slaughtered out there on the wing, and he's just too valuable a player. And there's another angle of this kick. And that's how you like him as a forward, straight out in front with the lace up.
And the Hawks needed that badly. There's Darren Jarman. Quick hand pass out towards Wigney, in fact it is. He's lying over the ball. McGuinness tries to sock it off the ground. Andy Collins is there. And looks like Wiedemann. Is it at the bottom of the pack or Anderson? Let's have a look. It's Wiedemann.
Yes, Randall Bones just dropping back into the forward pocket there for the Crows, and he's interchanged with Wigney, just coming up and certainly supplying some physical presence at that bounce.
Greg Deere wins the hit out, taken by Bickley. Bickley a high floating kick. Lip tack races there with Modra. Which way will it bounce? It favours Jason Taylor. He gets it wide. He's looking out there for Gary Ayres. Ayres on the left foot, can chip it. No, kicks it on the right to Condon at half back. On to Allen, starting to come right into the game. He might be run down here. He's not. He brings it in towards half forward. Gowers marks. Gowers gives off to Lawrence. Lawrence chips it to the pocket. An ordinary kick by Lawrence, but Dunstall gets there. Has he got any support? Socket away by Jamison. But look at Dunstall. Tremendous play, Dunstall. McGuinness is there for the Crows. Terrific play, McGuinness to Tregenza. Now further afield to Wigney. And the Crows go forward once again, but waiting underneath it is Paul Cooper.
Cooper from centre half back goes short. Deere. Looking slow, Hawthorn. Leg speed of the Crows is bothering them. Out to centre wing left. Baxter. He waits. Delivers the pass to Hudson. Pinpoint accuracy. Paul Hudson too far out to score. Centering kick. Sitting up for Condon. Over his head he goes to Lawrence. Fingertip control. Steve Lawrence for goal. Hall. Can't mark. Still in the field of play. Still with Hall. And taken out of bounds by Rashudo.
A good physical presence there by Rashudo, young player. But once again, Lawrence just not being able to convert from 30 metres out. Not good enough.
The throw in. Another chance for the Hawks. They kicked the last goal. They need the next. A trap by Gowers. Goes back with the hand pass, but it's knocked out of bounds. Hawthorn players claim deliberate. Umpire says throw it in.
Half forward for the Hawks. They badly need 1 or 2 quick goals. Over the back is Wren. He did that beautifully to Chris McDermott. 2-on-1 here. Oh, look at that. And Jarman beats it too. Great effort, Jarman. Anderson.
looking for Whitney. Whitney can't mark. Jason Taylor kicks it away. Will it sit for him? He's got two Crows after him. Well played by Taylor as he hooked it, or scooped it actually, towards the half-forward line. And it rolls over the line, so it'll be another throw-in.
Midway through the second quarter, Adelaide 7-5, Hawthorn 4 goals 4. Clean possession, ran again, and off he runs. Poor kick though. Socket out of bounds, and we'll have a throw-in. Darren Jarman, 8 possessions. Alan Joyce on the phone. The match committee all with binoculars. Wren tries to take clean possession. Nugent. He's taken Anderson right to the other side. Kick by Nugent, dropping a bit short. No great distance with that. Gowers punches from behind. Andrew Jarman caught by Platten. McDermott, lip tack. Oh, he gave it straight to the opposition. Collins.
Bad play by lip tack. Collins brings it in towards half-forward looking for Platten, and the little fella marks. John Platten should be kicking it long.
6th possession.
Brings it into the pocket. Renner's there. Hudson in front. Oh, Hudson. Oh, miraculous mark by Hudson. I thought Renner was going to come over the top and take that, Gerard.
Yes, he just threw out their left mitt and grabbed the Faulkner football, which is strange because we are used to using Sherrins here, but with the advent of a couple of sides being sponsored by Faulkner, they get a run also for a half.
Paul Hudson for his second goal. They need it. It drifts across. And it is one behind only to the Hawks. But they're struggling. Adelaide doing well. 7-5 to 4-5, so 18 points the margin as Stephen Rowe, the Adelaide half-forward, looks on.
And no doubt the whole of South Australia looking on and be pretty happy with what they're seeing. 47 to 29, the Crows in front. Nugent backs into the pack. He might be gone. No whistle. It's flipped out to Liptak. Beautiful hand pass to Bickley. Here's kick long. Modra comes from behind. Jenke up. No mark. Jenke at ground level. Did pretty well. For a third time, Ray Jenke. Now it comes to Smart. Skirts around. 45 metres out. And just misses to the left.
It's a good battle at half-forward for Adelaide. Jenke is doing quite well on Nigel Smart, but Smart also very dangerous up forward.
Darren Pritchard in the stands today. Played every game this year until he was knocked out in Brisbane last week.
Are they missing him?
Yes, they are missing his drive from the wing.
He's one of Dunstall's major suppliers. And at this stage, the Hawks are getting nothing off the wings right at the moment.
Langford to half-back, punched away by Greg Deere. Now Jarman, they really want to lift from him on the Baxter. Baxter to half-forward, a poor kick straight to McDermott.
He's killing them down there.
Oh, Gowers is just not doing enough on Chris McDermott.
Such a good reader of the play, McDermott.
Well, Gowers is 6'3". McDermott's about 5'11". He's killing him at the moment. Towards half-forward, Wren and Deere. No mark, Liptak, nearly best man on the ground at the moment. Oh, free kick should have been, but the advantage might have been played. Here's Tregenza. Simon Tregenza chips it in. Langford and Modra, punched down by Langford. Here's Allen. Oh, he wanted that ball, Ben Allen. Oh, he slipped over. Still gets his kick in. Might have had those rubber soles on Gerard, as we see Nugent. Now Lawrence flicks it back straight to Anderson. Anderson trying to get on the left foot, gets in a hand pass. Caught was Bickley. Jarman brilliantly. Further afield to Visca. Now Smart. Smart up in the air to half forward. Bone will come from the back with Ayres. It's a loose ball. Who's going to sweep on this? It's Langford, and Langford brings it to the centre of the ground.
Condon spoiled it for the Crows then. Holding the ball.
I think the Crows have got to do something. They're just a little bit heavy up forward. Maybe worthwhile getting David Brown onto the ground.
That one against Visca. Oh, kick by Deere is just almost up and down the one spot. Punch by Jarman. Comes to the front. Oh, terrific hand pass. Comes to Wiedemann. The hand pass came away from Visca, who tried to make up for it. Punch down to Smart. Hand pass back. Tregenza wide for Modra, and he marks about 35 metres out. Pretty wide out. Unmarked is Wiedemann. The angle no better, and Wiedemann only about 10 metres closer.
Yes, and Randall Bone has come off the ground. David Brown getting a run up there. It's fairly obvious that they just weren't getting any crumbs up there. Adelaide has responded.
The kick by the Weed is a goal.
Back to the centre. Adelaide 8-6, Hawthorn 4-5. It's been Adelaide's quarter. Greg Deere grabs it out of the ruck. A quick kick. It's towards half-foot. Lawrence shoved out of the way. McDermott playing a magnificent game. So is Liptak. So is Anderson. Anderson a quick kick. To Brown. Brown. Quick hand pass. Tony McGuinness. Onto the left foot. And he finds Nigel Smart.
Anderson's had 16 possessions to date on the wing. And he is really just killing Hawthorn through the middle of the ground.
Nigel Smart. 60 metres. Brings it in towards the pocket. Greg Deere is Aaron Modra, and a free kick for a push in the back will go to Greg Deere. He plays on to Langford. Langford, no one leading for him. Now Lawrence finally off the ground, and not before time. I'm not being hard on Lawrence.
Yes, you are.
But it was obvious early in the piece as we see Jarman in towards half forward. Well, I suppose I am, but it's
being tough.
I think you're being fair though.
Well, it's fair. As we see Baxter in towards half forward, it's up over the line, but a free kick for too high on John Platt.
Well, Joyce isn't renowned for his overuse of the interchange. He does tend to use their interchange players as 19th and 20th men.
Dunstall from behind for the mark.
If ever there was a man for the crisis, it's this man on screen, Jason Dunstall. Just when all things were looking glum for the Hawks, up he bobs with mark of the day today. There's Chris McDermott looking like a step ladder, cops the boot right in the small of the back. That'll be painful tomorrow, but less so if they win.
Dunstall's kicked one. Hawthorn's kicked just one goal in this quarter. They really need this. A goal. There were even some Hawk fans brave enough to go to McDermott's pub over in Adelaide. They were happy with that.
Yeah, Scott Lee coming onto the ground as we see the mark and the conversion. Of course, Jason Dunstall's had a pretty good record against the Crows. He's had kicked 9 and 8 in his 2 games versus Adelaide this season. He's kicked 8 or more goals on 5 occasions. One of the great champs of the league.
Interesting, Jared. With Lawrence coming off the ground, Adelaide have immediately replied by taking off Pittman. Now, Tony McGuinness to half forward. Cheeky and Smart having a terrific battle. There's Paul Cooper thumping it away. Wiedemann. Oh, look at the pace of Wiedemann. Cooper's there harassing him, and eventually it's forced over the line.
Well, it really is the first punch and counter punch by the coaching panel. Thought Alan Joyce was a little bit late in responding, as you've been calling for all day, Peter. Scott Lee's the man for the moment, just to be able to pick up the quickest Crawford.
Crows by 19 points. The kick by Ayres. Bad bounce for Jarman. Baxter the hand pass to Deere. Hawthorn can mount something here. The kick by Deere. Into the hole. Dunstall interfered with, but still takes the mark.
Well, this is where he's got the advantage over Jamison. Jamison can perhaps go with him for pace, but when it comes to a one-on-one wrestle, Macca, there's not many defenders strong enough to go with him.
Well, you're talking about one of the superstars of the game, Jared. He's a great player. Look at that.
Well, it was a free kick anyway, but so good is Dunstall that he ended up taking it.
Well, he's the player that Adelaide have to hold because he's the key to Hawthorn.
Just a sensational mark. Dunstall for goal number 3. Warmed up for the finals with 10 last week in Brisbane. But this one gets away to the right. That's uncharacteristic.
And speaking of coaching counter punches, I think Hawthorn will have to look at their defensive position. With Brown going onto the ground, he's matched up now with Gary Ayres. There's a mismatch in pace, no question.
So this is Rodney Jamison. Will be relieved that Dunstall missed that one. Jamison. To the half-back line, Wren versus Deere. Deere thumps it down. Oh, strong tackle on McGuinness. Taken away by Jarman. Jarman to half-forward. Over the back is Wiedemann. Well played by Wiedemann with strength. He's got back up support. A lovely hand pass comes out to Bickley. And Mark Bickley races in the goal and puts it through.
They lead 60 to 36. It's a handy break over the mighty finals experienced Hawthorn. Nugent hasn't had any finals experience. He goes off the left boot, it bounces up all right for Gowers. He goes for goal and kicks a ripper. Well, they scored that goal within about 20 seconds of the centre bounce.
Yes, that's a reply they needed. They need a couple more of them also. You'll see Chris McDermott just slipping over, as we've seen players do at this ground consistently this season. Nugent getting the ball out. McDermott goes to ground, just leaving Gowers a little bit of space. It was a difficult goal in the end, and he did well.
So back to the centre, the margin 18 points. Deer and Wren. Wren wins that one. They race that. Jarman took his eyes off the ball, Darren Jarman. Here's smothered off his boot. Liptak has been fantastic. Gets it into Brown. Still at half forward. Tregenza drops it. They race in after it. It comes out to Jarman and the umpire said a throw.
Meanwhile, Tony Hall's been pushed out to centre half forward. Not surprising. That's allowed Jason Dunstall to get his hands on the football.
Well, Darren Jarman, back to the centre a moment ago, just forgot about the ball, went past the ball, try and iron out the Adelaide player. That is a cardinal sin of football. As we see David Brown from 55 metres set it up in front of goal. Big Renner's there, but coming across the front is Jenke. He's a good finals player, Ray Jenke.
Good battle between he and Smart.
And he's forgotten all about that depressed fracture of the cheekbone. And we thought he might line up today, Ray Jenke, in the mask. Here's Langford. Over half back. Hall a long way down the ground, and he clears a path for Taylor. Taylor across the half-back line. This is great play by the Hawks. Cooper can go for a run. Wren, the only man in the vicinity who can go for a chase. Not a great kick by Cooper. And a terrific mark taken back there by Visca as it just bobbled over the head of Platten. McGuinness. Good take by Condon. Quickly off to Hall. Looking a bit sharper now. The kick by Hall. Long to the goal square. Dunstall at the back. A severe punch down. Hudson. He's knocked over. Collins. Back to Platten. A snap with the outside of his foot. But right in the goal square, the mark is taken by Jamison. Didn't go very far. But the mark is paid.
And pass across to Scott Lee. And Dunstall's hurt his shoulder. That would be disastrous for Hawthorn. Hall. Free kick though behind the play to Baxter. The Hawks. And Dunstall in the hands of the trainers.
He's okay.
It's okay. Darren Baxter in towards Dunstall. Look at this. 1-on-3 here. Platten. A quick kick. It bounces and wobbles to the pocket. 2-on-1 here to Adelaide. Crawford is there. Taken away by Chris McDermott. Across the face. He's got Tregenza on his own way out there at half-back. And Simon Tregenza can sprint clear.
In this quarter, the Crows 6 goals to Hawthorn 3-2. Excellent mark taken by Bickley. Scores were level at quarter time, but the margin is now 18 points in favour of Adelaide. Taylor goes the spoil. It comes to Condon. Condon switches direction. Hall. Anderson got back there to punch down. Crawford slipped over once again. The turf just moving a fraction here. Up to centre wing. Smart takes the mark. It came from Lee. Smart balks the hand pass. Drives it long. Modra well placed. Oh, he seemed to sail, but up before acceptances. Jarman marks. Deer. Oh, that would have been a handy mark. It goes to Andrew Jarman. Off to McGuinness. A high ball. Modra again well placed. Knocks it to the front. All Adelaide. Brown. At centre half forward for the Crows. Holding it. Hawthorn free.
Well, they got out of jail there, Hawthorn, because Brown was away. He is too quick for Ayres. They've got a problem.
Well, here's Greg Deer. He should be kicking it long, looking for Dunstall. Oh, that's a shocking kick by Deer. And the field kicking Hawthorn. Cooper and Deer twice have broken clear and kicked it straight to Adelaide. McDermott, the Tasker. Out wide is Wren. Sean Wren chips it to Wiedemann. And Hawthorn might pay for this. Oh, look at this. Liptak, no one near him for 40 metres. Matthew Liptak races into goal and says, thank you very much, and puts it through. So the Crows answering everything Hawthorn can throw at them. 6-6 to 10-6, margin 24 points.
Matthew Liptak's been quite outstanding in the last couple of weeks, and I count last week's game as a final. He's had 14 possessions off the half-forward flank. He's kicked 2 goals, 1, and it's been quite damaging.
really when it counts in the first half and the game's up for grabs.
Well, Liptak getting the goal there. He's kicked 2 in this quarter. A 24-point lead to the Crows with just over a minute to go to half-time. Allen bursts out of the middle. Oh, kicks straight into the man Visca. Wren, Andrew Jarman. Took too long, caught by Baxter. Andrew Jarman again. Round the corner to centre wing. Anderson and Nugent. Nugent couldn't break the tackle of Anderson. McDermott. And the ball out of play. McDermott has been magnificent in an unusual role back in defence. And worried looks in Hawthorn's box up there with Alan Joyce.
Half forward for Hawthorn. Hall. Now Allen. Now Andrew Collins. They went without it. Strong tackle by Baxter. Quick kick. In towards the centre of the ground. Racing at it is Hall. Socket away from him. A chance for Adelaide now on the rebound. Here's Brown. In towards Wiedemann, who marks way out there at half forward. Wayne Wiedemann. He'll look for Modra. Chips it to the pocket. There's a siren though to end a terrific quarter of football by Adelaide. In a big surprise at the MCG, the Adelaide Crows 10-6-66 lead the mighty Hawks 6-6-42 as we see Graham Corn sprinting down to the fence. Alan Joyce looking a very worried man, Gerard.
And so he might, because he has got plenty of problems, particularly in their defence. I think Matthew Liptak has been quite outstanding. David Brown also coming onto the ground just to let Hawthorn know that there are options. McGuinness is getting his share of the ball as he has a well-earned rest at half-time, but I think they're killing them across the wings. Greg Anderson is dominating one, and Simon Tregenza is also doing very well across on his wing. But Adelaide go in at half-time with a handy lead. It's 10-6-66. Hawthorn 6-6-42.
Because the two full forwards, Modra and Dunstall, both have 2 goals each. Also for Adelaide, Smart, Liptak and Bone have 2 goals, and for Hawthorn, as well as Dunstall, Hall 2.
Today's game is part of the Carlton.
Yes, I'm a little bit surprised at some of the Hawthorn matchups. They haven't stuck to their winning formula of a couple of weeks ago, and they've got Condon down there on Liptak. Now, that's been a problem the whole game, and yet it hasn't been changed. Baxter took him right out of the game a couple of weeks ago, and yet they haven't reverted. Baxter probably keeping Andrew Jarman relatively quiet. But I think also Hawthorn are just lacking a little bit of drive out of the middle. They're getting slaughtered in the centre bounces, and when the ball gets up into the Adelaide half-forward line, they've just got too much mobility. Even Wiedemann's been a major bonus for them. His form in the last month has been excellent. He's going on with it today, and when you consider that Modra's only kicked 2 goals, there's plenty to come for Adelaide to be even at their best.
And a surprise packet, I think, Chris McDermott playing on Andrew Gowers down there in the half-back line. McDermott really playing a great captain's game, and we're going to have a look at that clash between Hudson and Jason Dunstall in this centre square area here, when Dunstall appeared to hurt his shoulder. He really got hit from all angles.
Tasker coming over the top really to lay out the lot.
But really the Hawks with a lot of problems. That was a great quarter by Adelaide, and their runners had really come to the fore, and they're looking particularly dangerous.
Well, we're just saying during the break, can we actually pick a Hawthorn winner? Is there a clear winner amongst the Hawthorn side?
Well, you could possibly go for Langford. Jenkins doing okay on Smart, but Smart also dangerous, as you can have a look at the match stats. Well, the kicks are clearly in favour of Hawthorn, well, actually only by 1. Handballs in favour of Adelaide, as you'd expect, but centre breaks is the one to look at on that page. Adelaide dominating with 11-5.
And the free kicks 15-7 in favour of Hawthorn. There'll be a few people across the border saying, oh, it's all rigged. But anyway, the scoreboard clearly favours the Crows at half-time. They lead by 4 goals. The Crows leading by 4 goals, and I suppose the supporters can take a pat on the back, because it's not the hostile environment here in Melbourne that the Crows and indeed South Australian state sides will have felt in the past. Ben Allen has been a star for Hawthorn this year, and in our stats track we've isolated the statistics on Allen. This is for the second quarter, and Gerard, take us through it.
Well, he's obviously doing most of his work through the centre of the ground, playing the corridor quite well. But on the other hand, Mark Bickley, for the opposition, his direct opponent, is also getting plenty of the football. So I'd say those two have just about squared the ledger.
Well, let's have a look at the team stats, and you can see Ben Allen up the top there with 14 possessions in the first half.
Well, I'd say that the two best players are Ben Allen and Gary Ayres. Unfortunately, the best players have been down the back line. Gary Ayres is one, and Paul Cooper, Darren Jarman, he's had 7. I think he's been a very ordinary player, Darren Jarman, but they've got to put him to the forward line to get him into the game and give Hawthorn a bit of spark, and they really need a lift across that half-forward line as we go to the next page. But Johnny Platten surprisingly hasn't been used on the ball much. Langford's doing quite well. Jason Taylor's playing a fair game at centre half back, but they've been killed on the wings, and
Collins really getting that many touches.
Andy Collins having an ordinary day on Tony McGuinness.
And there's Mark Bickley. Well, he's got 18 possessions, been quite effective and been involved in a number of goals. There's Tony McGuinness' stats, getting so much of the football, so much more than Collins. Perhaps there needs to be a change there. Look at the wingman. There's Anderson, 16 possessions. He's had a couple of opponents. We'll have a look at Tregenza, 15 possessions, clearly dominating through the centre of the ground, and that's going to be the Crows' strength in this finals. If you're going to beat the Crows, you must close them down in the middle of the ground. As we flip the page and have a look at Sean Wren, he's getting plenty of the football, getting back, blocking up Dunstall, doing quite a nice job. I've liked Rashudo's game. He's only got the ball the once, but he's doing quite well for a young and inexperienced player, providing plenty of muscle in the defensive area.
In the Hawks rooms, Jason Dunstall and Chris Langford, they played in 4 premierships each, one forward and one back, but unless things change around today here for Hawthorn, they won't be playing in any more, because of course the loser here today goes out of the competition altogether. Will the Hawks go out in the first week of finals? Now let's take a look at the leaders in the statistics groups during the season, and firstly in kicks, and we have Adelaide and Hawthorn, the two opponents today, represented top of the ladder. Tony McGuinness led the season in home and away, and Ben Allen just behind him. And in handballs, well, Greg Williams, the Channel 7 Footballer of the Year, was a clear leader then, but Adelaide used the handballs a lot, and Chris McDermott and Mark Bickley both in that top list. And total disposals, Greg Williams. Do you win the Brownlow because you handle the ball more than anybody else? Maybe a Brownlow medalist will come from this list. Who knows? It'll be interesting. We'll have to wait a couple of weeks to see that one. And in marking, Stewie Lowe, outstanding as he so often is, with those big hands of his, clamping his hands around the ball 28 more times than the next best, Jason Dunstall. Gary Ablett has won the John Coleman medal for the leading goal kicker during the home and away. He beat Modra by 5, and he beat Dunstall by 7. The 3 Centurions a long way back to the next best, John Longmire. And in hitouts, Scott Wyand of Footscray, he won the Brownlow last year. Is it a sign perhaps that in hitouts, right in front of the umpire, he might attract some attention this year? Justin Madden has been second in a Brownlow. He's second in hitouts this year. Jared Healy doesn't think so. He'll run down Ruckman as much as he can. And in tackles, look at the leader there, Tony Liberatore, and it's daylight second, back to Nathan Burke in 3rd place. Liber, a magnificent tackler, one of the smallest players in the game. And in shepherds, well, Nathan Burke doing a lot of the hard things, not only in tackling but shepherding. You often risk a knock to the ear in shepherding, and Nathan Burke has done it the best of anybody this year, with 39 for the season. Now, free kicks for Harry Madden. The umpires always call him Harry when we've marked the players during the Foster's Cup. It's get back on the mark, Harry. Harry this, Harry that. Maybe he does the right thing, the president of the Players Association, because he's up there leading the list in free kicks for. And against, well, it's interesting that the Sydney skipper, Paul Kelly, is a long way in front in the kicks against, and Anthony Condon of Hawthorn is also up there a long way. Well, on Tuesday next week, they'll announce the winner of the Norwich Rising Star Player of the Year. It's been an interesting innovation this year. For the first time, we're recognising the young players who've made an impact, and the last nomination is Lee Colbert of Geelong.
This final, he's told his players the centre bounces are so important on this ground. Control it there, and Hawthorn will always struggle. Chris McDermott doing a fine job across halfback, and Matthew Liptak receiving quite a lot of praise during the break from his teammates. Corns making the point, a win here will see Adelaide 1 game away from the grand final. It's there for the taking, it's up to you, but again, emphasising that fact that the next quarter is just so important. Many say, Bernie, the championship quarter.
Yeah, that's true, Maxie, and this is a very important term for Hawthorn. It could be curtains, I think, for Hawthorn if they do not do something, especially around the middle of the ground. They have their problems. Alan Joyce had not addressed the side when I was in there. Sitting around, really, the atmosphere was like a morgue in the Hawthorn rooms. Nothing to inspire any sort of confidence in there at all. Gary Ayres said a few things to the players. One thing he did mention was unnecessary turnovers. They had possession of the ball on a few occasions around half-back, middle of the ground. Very poor disposal into the forward line, saw them turn over the ball and resulted in Adelaide goals. So they really must work hard on that area. The other thing was they must be so positive in this term. Don't go into their shell. Don't worry about doing anything because they are still a good side and they can get back into this match. The difference is only 4 goals and Gary is very positive that they can get back into it.
Well, twice this year, Hawthorn have beaten Adelaide in a burst of 1 quarter. 8-goal quarters have been enough in the 2 games previously. And if the Hawks, with the breeze in this third term, can come out and kick, say, 8 goals to none or 8 goals to 1, they might turn this game right around. But, gee, they need to lift all over the park, Jared.
Yes, they certainly do, and they've got to start in the middle, as Graham Corn so rightly pointed out. If you get the ball out of the centre here at the MCG and you get a bit of a burst where you can just about convert the goal. So Hawthorn have got some problems there, and we were just discussing at half-time, have Adelaide got any problems? It's very difficult to find a weakness in their game. They've brought a lot of supporters over with them, but one thing they have brought is the tenacity and the viciousness at the football, which they displayed so well last week. And they've been very tough. They've been very supportive. Their support running has been excellent. They've really encouraged each other out on the ground, and they've just got a better balance. They're not under as much pressure as Hawthorn do.
I agree, and Hawthorn really have to do something about the centre bounce and at half forward, and I think they went in with a very poorly manned up side. I think Stephen Lawrence was the wrong option for centre half forward, and they have to get a more mobile player to centre half forward. Maybe Jarman down to the half forward line, or Gowes the centre half forward. But certainly, they also need to get Platten into the middle. Even though if he's not 100% fit, you know at the centre bounce he'll charge in and attack the ball.
Well, I think Condon has got to go into the middle, and I think he could do a straight swap with Baxter. Baxter go onto Liptak, Condon go onto Andrew Jarman. They're about of similar pace, and it possibly could solve the problem that Hawthorn have got up in the middle with Liptak just being so damaging. That's 2 weeks in a row now, and his form is quite outstanding.
Well, it's interesting that Hawthorn are so keen on manning up in the centre square with the 4 on-ballers that there's no room for a true rover like Platten. And we saw the stats at half-time. Platten's had 11 possessions and Crawford's had just 1. So your true rovers have had the ball 12 times in half a football.
That's exactly right. And sometimes you can overdo the manning up. And there's Alan Joyce. He's got the big job to come up with something constructive now, or this game will be lost and the Hawks will be gone.
Well, he has been quite slow on that interchange bench. He hasn't used it all that much, has he? So we see a couple of taller Crows players coming off the ground, Pittman and Whitney. There's Stephen Lawrence. And Andy Collins coming off the ground also.
5 possessions for Collins.
Well, he has been beaten, but if you take him off the ground, you're also taking pace off the ground, and that's been one of their weaknesses in this first half.
Well, I'll just look at Platten. He's standing in the centre circle, so obviously he's going to start on the ball, and that's a good move. In fact, it might even pick up Tony McGuinness.
Collins to Liptak would also be a pretty good option. Collins has been a State of Origin back pocket for many, many years.
Darren Jarman's in there as well, so it's Jarman, Platten, Deere and Allen.
Gowers at centre half forward, still with McDermott.
We get underway to start the second half. A shocking bounce by the umpire straight to Allen. So a good break for the Hawks out of the centre square. Disciplined punch down. And the punch came from Tasker. Here's Platten. Dragged off it. And comes back to John Platten. So straight away, he's in the centre of the action and he needs to lift. On the ball for the start of the second half. The kick to half forward. Punch to the front. Nixon couldn't take it cleanly. Quick exchange of hand passes through Lee, Jarman, and now Tregenza through McGuinness. They're so quick with their hands. Pretty hard to call them. Tasker. Oh, top mark from behind, taken by Taylor. Bone was a problem in the first half and kicked a couple of goals. The kick by Taylor to Ayres, in between half-back and wing.
And Gary Ayres, one of their better players, certainly not letting them down. A great finals performer. Now, they're flying at the back. Here's Anthony Condon. Hand pass wide. the youngster, Shane Crawford. He should kick it long. Dunstall leads. He centres the ball, Crawford. That's good play. Dunstall just hesitated slightly, and that allowed the Crows to come away. Greg Anderson cleverly chips it back to Andrew Jarman. Jarman at half-back to the half-forward line. One-on-one contest.
Oh, yes.
Gee, Jenky, that's a terrific contest. Jenky and Smart with honours pretty even as he chips it across to Jarman. They want a big lift from him. On to Ayres. Ayres brings it wide. Oh, look at this. Gowers, no one near him, 40 metres. Andrew Gowers steadies, races into goal, and that is an absolute shocker. And Dunstall standing on his own, 30 metres clear, 20 metres out from goal. Unbelievable mistake.
At the other end of the ground, Liptak has finally got a new opponent, and it is Darren Baxter.
Kick in from Jamison, and Rasciuto takes the mark behind halfback. Well, Hawthorn should have got a goal out of that. Players miles in the clear. Rasciuto goes for some distance. Gets plenty. Taylor!
He's been good also. Hasn't been let down by either he or Jenky across halfback.
Crawford looking to get into the game and sharing the ball with Platten. This looks better already for Hawthorn. Platten through the centre. A high ball. Dunstall waits. They come from everywhere. It comes to the front of the pack. Gowers in there with strength. Condon comes in. Visca the hand pass to Andrew Jarman. He paddles the ball across to Lee. Lee clears the area. Ayres leads the race over Brown. How long will that last? Hacked out of the air by Cooper. He gains about 25 metres. Anderson caught in the tackle by Jarman. The ball spills to Nugent. Chance now for Hawthorn. Nugent across to Hudson. Bounces inside the 50. From the boundary line. Has hacked it straight out of bounds.
No percentage in that one. Left foot 50 metres out on the most ridiculous of angles. The percentage, of course, was to centre the ball. And I think Andrew Jarman just giving him a little bit of a coaching tip there.
I agree entirely with you, Gerard. That's undisciplined play by Paul Hudson. He tried to kick the goal and should have been centering it where he had players calling for it. Chris McDermott played a great game for Adelaide. To the half-back line, Sean Wren in front. Oh, Jarman went without it. His brother picks it up. Andrew Jarman to Scott Lee. Lee to the half-forward line. Ayres in front. He's the only one who really went for it, Gary Ayres. Now, he breaks clear. A couple of good signs for Hawthorn. They're getting a lot of the ball at the moment. Ben Allen back with the flight of the ball, but Scott Lee races after it. And really, they're doing it well, Adelaide, to centre wing. But young Crawford, who I think should have started in this game. Crawford on to Jenky. Jenky wide to Dunstall. Can he get there? Yes, he can. Beautiful kick, Jenky. Well, the Hawks, a couple of good signs for the Hawks, Gerard.
Yes, there's no doubt about that. When you get some run off the half-back line, you look a quicker side. And Jenky, with his pinpoint passing, is a vital ingredient into any successful Hawthorn side. So there's a half-back giving the ball, kicking it directly to a half-forward, just indicating good run as Brown is about to come off to be replaced by Stuart Wigney.
Jason Dunstall, the Hawthorn champ for goal number 3. They need it. And he's kicked it.
Michael Jordan, the highest paid athlete on earth. Behind the glamour.
Back in the middle. The Hawks have added 1-1. The Crows haven't added to their half-time score. The Jarmans are on each other now. Darren out of the middle. It goes past Hudson. A chance for Nixon. It sits up well. He took a step too many, is bowled over. He regains his footing and kicks the goal. This is a new Hawthorn. They're coming back at the Crows.
Where did it start, Peter? Right in the middle, the centre bounce, and that is the vital ingredient. Andrew Jarman just having a bit of a crack there with Nixon. But the Crows have been dominant in the centre. Visca just not completing the tackle. That's an inexperienced mistake, allowing Nixon to get up and convert the goal. We've got a game on our hands.
All of a sudden, the margin is now only 11 points. Next goal, vital. Regnier gets it to Nixon. Nixon, free kick, too high. Well, the Hawks on fire. Oh, what's happened? I thought the umpire pointed the other way.
Well, he did, didn't he?
Nixon should kick long. Out towards half forward. Tony Hall is there and Gowers. Now Platten, little Platten. Over the back to Nugent. He swings onto the left foot, smothered off the boot. Platten a quick kick. 1-on-1. Dunstall and Jamison. Jamison will take this.
Well done, Jamison.
Good play by Rodney Jamison. He was under extreme pressure.
But this will certainly test the Crows. This is finals football. You're not going to get an easy victory. Very rarely to see games like the North Melbourne West Coast yesterday was just one-sided. Jarman and the umpire having a little bit of a chat. I'm not talking about Andrew's new haircut, I assume.
Here's Jamison. Should be thrilling in the second half to see the two Jarmans in the middle on each other. Here's Andrew. Darren closes the gap, but can't stop him kicking up the ground. Liptak. Hand passes partly blocked. Nugent gets rid of the handball. Bickley at centre wing for the Crows. Bit of a fumble. Gets the hand pass away to Liptak. He goes long. Inside half forward. Wigney. Ball jolted free and out of bounds for a throw-in. Interesting career for Wigney. Played just one game for the Sydney Swans last year. 47 with Footscray.
Half forward for Adelaide. Jason Taylor's been very good. Grabbed by Bone. Back to the pocket, but Langford in front of Modra. He's done pretty well. Handball's off to Paul Cooper. Cooper will look for Deere. Deere at the back. Can't take the mark. Here's Gary Ayres racing at it. Gary Ayres brings it in towards half forward. This is Condon. Where's Dunstall? The leader's on. It's a poor kick by Condon. It really, he had led beautifully, Jason Dunstall. The kick wide. Allen and Bickley marks.
Now Bickley was keen to play on and get in between Allen and the boundary line, but the umpire makes him come back behind the mark. Crows leading by 10 points. They led by 24 at half-time. Smart just forward of centre wing. The kick by Smart to centre half forward. Cooper. And he protected the ball well and took the mark out in front. Hawthorn certainly have lifted all over the ground. Some positional changes have made a difference. Darren Jarman gets away from Andrew Jarman. Marks. His left footer is all right. Gowers marks.
Most of the positional changes, Drew, are basically reverting back to their winning combination of 2 weeks ago.
Darren Jarman out wide. His left footer, a centering kick. Dunstall's there. Punch from behind was disciplined by Jamison. Condon goes to ground. Nugent with Andrew Jarman. Grabbed by Darren Jarman. Dunstall. It flicks out to Nugent. Outside of his foot. And he's kicked it behind.
I'm with you, Gerard Healy. We have seen about 20 times today players slipping over. At vital times, that cost Hawthorn a goal then. And there's because they're wearing those rubber stops.
You can ask the coaches why they don't wear mould, why they don't wear screw-ins, and they say they won't. The players just won't do it. Well, in the old days, Barassi used to fine $100.
Deere taps it down. Taken away by Tregenza. In towards half forward. Jason Taylor and Smart. Thump clear to Liptak. Liptak caught. Gets it to in towards Smart. A beautiful kick by Smart. Good play by the centre half forward, and he has found Stuart. Wigney, or is it Bone? Let's have a look. It's Wigney. So Adelaide come back.
Here we see at the base of the pack, that's where all good half-forward rovers should be. Liptak getting the ball out to Smart. And he's creating some chaos up there on that forward line.
Stuart Wigney. Almost directly in front. A vital kick. He's kicked it to the right. Will it come back? Let's have a look at the goal umpire. It's a goal.
16 and a quarter minutes to go. 72 to 57. Third quarter at the MCG. The loser goes out. The winner to the second semi. Crawford's made a difference. Back to Baxter he goes. And up to Allen. Good running. Darren Baxter. A centering kick. Hall is there. Dunstall from behind. Dunstall juggles. Can't mark.
Well done, Rashudo.
He did it well to Bickley. McGuinness. Wide to centre wing. Wiedemann underneath the ball. Cooper. Taken out by Wiedemann. And we'll have a throw in. Wayne Wiedemann from Fish Creek. Centre breaks. You can see Hawthorn 4-0 this quarter, and they've made a comeback. Got to within 9 points.
Crawford on centre wing was held. Still well Crawford on to Jarman. On to Platten. He's made a difference. In towards half forward. Gowers runs at it. Still punching it on Gowers. Still going on. That was good play by Andrew Gowers. Platten is there. Now a chance for the Hawks. Condon to Dunstall. This should be a lay down Maziere. He can't get back there. Still going. Oh, gets a cruel bounce. Taken away by Jamison. Into Liptak. And Liptak at half forward sprints clear. Brings it in towards the full forward. And a great mark taken in front. And that is by Wigney. A free kick he's paid in the end. Well, that's an injustice in football down the other end. Dunstall got a cruel bounce.
Yes, but again, you can also look at the kick from Condon. Had plenty of time, was under no pressure, kicked it over Dunstall's head. They're the little things that make a big difference in a final.
So Wigney for his second goal in 3 minutes from directly in front. Stuart Wigney kicks.
Third game for the season. So 21 points the margin.
There he is again.
Liptak once more. Tregenza, Andrew Jarman. Bouncing up towards the 50. Smart outnumbered. Paddles it back well to Wiedemann. He drops it red hot in the tackle. Goes to Smart. His hand pass. McGuinness has to wait for it. Good enough, Tony McGuinness. Round the corner he goes. Smothered. Ayres is there. Pops the hand pass over the top. Composure. Crawford in his first season goes wide to Langford in his umpteenth. His kick is too wide. Out on the full.
Should be belting it long out of defence at this stage.
No, I'm not sure about that, Peter. I think possession football is more vital than just kicking it blindly, because if it just goes to an opposition player, it come back just as quick.
Liptak now. Smart and Jenke. Jenke in front. McGuinness did that beautifully. Play on calls the umpire. Hand pass comes out to Ray Jenke. Oh, he went without it. Tony McGuinness goes to ground and the hand pass comes over the line. It's still in the Crows forward zone, about 25 metres around. That little man there on screen has probably been best man on the ground, Matthew Liptak.
Condon into the middle on Jarman. He's changed with Darren Jarman, who's at half forward on Scott Lee.
Smart, ridden into the ground by Ayres. Platten and McGuinness, look at those two. Teammates for South Australia so many times in State of Origin, and it's taken until the second half before they even became vaguely acquainted here today. McGuinness out in front of goals. Oh, punched away by Nugent, who did well. And Nugent playing his 9th game for the season, playing in his first final, started the game on the bench. 21 points the margin, Adelaide in front. Taylor knocks it out. It's taken by Wigney, who's had a good third term, but this time kicks out on the full.
Penalty kick down there to be taken by Ray Jenke. He and Nigel Smart have had a fantastic battle. So Jenke from the half back line. Greg Deere tries to tap it on. Little Crawford did well to Allen. Allen chips it to half forward where Gowers is there. Too many Crows players though as Visca sprints clear. Gets it to Chris McDermott. Beautiful kick. Wigney 60 metres from goal. Stuart Wigney. He's going to go for the long bomb. He is a long kick. He brings it in front of goal. Players set themselves. Good mark, Greg Deere.
On the bounce to Taylor. His hand pass is blocked by Liptak. So Liptak's not only winning the ball, he's doing the defensive things. Langford looking for Platten. Wiedemann comes to meet him. Platten keeps going. Deere up the ground. Whistle's gone. And Platten will take a free kick. And we looked at Platten at half-time, where he'd had 11 possessions, and now he's up to 15. Deere goes back. Platten again. Standing start kick. Visca doubles back. Oh, good mark.
On the lead. The Crows go forward again. Scott Lee kicks it wide, but Gary Ayres, can he get there? A little bit slow. Modra nearly beat him to it. Tapped on to Langford by Cooper was good play. The Hawks rebound. Here goes Langford. He's still going on with it. He can give it to Ben Allen with a chip pass. He's found him. Allen can have a shot. He bombs away. Oh, that's a poor kick by Ben Allen. And really, I think he was trying to kick it to Dunstall.
I think he put his head down and went for the goal, but having made that decision, I think he just should have gone another 4 or 5 metres to make certain he could have made the distance. Dunstall was left stranded in the hole 10 metres in front of the square.
Straight up the centre of the ground. Wren, spoiled by Deere. Comes to the front to Anderson. His hand pass is blocked. Wren there again, trampled by Deere. Nugent. Condon. A high ball to clear the area. Tough one to mark, so nobody does. Nixon, only 30 metres out. Well, Jamison doing a good job. He was their leading goal kicker a couple of years ago. He's been turned defender this year and has kicked 6 goals in his 18 games this year. But in 1991, he led their goal kickers with 49.
Handballs to Scott Lee. Lee looking for Wren. Wren and Ben Allen. Allen read it well. Good mark by Ben Allen. Hawthorn's disposal. Really, it's not the normal Hawthorn kicking today. On to Condon. Now he can go wide here. There's loose men everywhere. He can chip it to Nixon here. No, Jarman dodging around. Handballs to Nixon. Ricky Nixon kicks. And really, that is shocking play.
Well, that's why he should have kicked it, just chipped it so Nixon could have gone back and taken a set shot. He elected to do the walking, and good swamping from the Adelaide Crows put Nixon under pressure.
Bickley up the ground. It bounces for McGuinness. Round the boundary line he goes. Taylor charges at it. Another cruel bounce. Crawford paddles looking for Taylor or the boundary line and finds the line. Well, Hawthorn really haven't had value for their efforts in this third quarter. They've added 2 goals, 5. And Adelaide have been forward a couple of times. 2 goals to Wigney, 2 goals straight. Ball back out of bounds. We have 8 minutes 40 remaining in this third quarter. Collins on the interchange bench. 5 possessions in the first half. It comes to Tregenza. Liptak leaves Baxter. But Ayres is there. There's Liptak. Loses ground but finds his skipper McDermott, who's been cool. Magnificent McDermott. A high ball. Wigney again. No mark. Out of defence. Cooper. Anderson marks and goes on with it. 45 metres out. Greg Anderson misses.
Ooh, that was a vital kick, that one.
Well, it's just an example of why possession football is so vital. We just saw a Hawthorn player blazing away. Gave it to Anderson. Should have cost him a goal. As the Crows prepare for an interchange with Pittman up on the boundary line.
Langford to half back. It's stuffed on towards Platten. Platten lays the tackle, then goes in and gets it himself. It's a wide ball with Condon. Quick kick was by Gowers. A big chance here. As racing at it is Ben Allen. He'll try and break the tackle with a hand pass. He does to Hudson. Hudson on the left foot. A shocking kick by Hudson. Gee, that's poor play. On to Visca. They really had a chance in Hawthorn as the hand pass comes back to Tasker. That was from Bickley. Langford did well. Good attempt by Langford. Backup support by Cooper. Cooper a clever hand pass to Nugent. He's off and running. Quick hand pass. In towards Condon. On to Nixon. Nixon runs at it. On to Condon. A chance now. The lead is on. In towards the pocket. Some pushing and shoving going on. Free kick to Adelaide. Holding the man. Indirect play by Hawthorn. Not good football at all. The shootout to take the kick.
Yes, all the handballs and the little kicks through the centre all done under a bit of pressure. Back to centre wing. Anderson with one hand. Cooper off the ground out on the full. Tony McGuinness to half forward. No great distance with that kick. Wiedemann breaks one, breaks another. Goes back to Anderson. He's lost it. Hacked out of the air, and the mark taken by Hudson. In between wing and half forward. The lead offered in short, but he goes long.
Free kick.
Dunstall pushed down. No whistle on the play. Rasciuto clears for Adelaide, and that's out of bounds on the full.
Well, was that a free kick or what? Let's have a look. Let's have a look what happens now.
He's tripped himself there, Macca.
Or did he?
He tripped himself.
Well, he might have. The umpire might be right there.
Open that other eye, Pete.
As we see Hudson from way out there at half forward, in towards full forward. Big Wren, great mark. Lee kicks wide. The race is on. Crawford and Tregenza. Tregenza, quick kick, then was held. Play on, calls the umpire.
Well done, Tregenza.
Well played by Tregenza as he sprints clear. In towards half forward. Thumped away. Jason Taylor. He's got a couple of Crows to beat here. No one to give it to. Eventually it's Condon. Condon a wild hand pass. Finds Baxter. Now Jarman. Jarman chips it to half forward. Tony Hall. Strong hands and the umpire's paid Well, he didn't signal. Probably paid the mark.
There's also a good battle with Rashudo. After Hall's good start in the first quarter, he kicked the goals. Rashudo has certainly tightened up.
Now, Dunstall on the lead versus Jamison, and a beautiful kick that time by Condon. Is that 50? No.
And how many times do you see that, Peter, where the ball comes down the right flank or wing for Hawthorn, and then they just know immediately that outer side flank will be opened up, and there'll be Jason Dunstall. It's a set play, no doubt about that.
Pity Hudson didn't do it earlier.
Yes.
So Condon has missed the target twice to Dunstall. That time was a beautiful kick on the left foot. They need this badly, the Hawks. Dunstall has kicked 3. Time ticking down towards three-quarter time. Dunstall stabs, it swings, and he has kicked it.
Well, fans of both sides giving voice at the moment. And the margin, 14 points. Dunstall 4 goals, so he's joined Modra for the season. Modra's kicked 2.
Liptak slaughtering them, just running off half forward into the centre.
Kicked by Visca, inside the 50. Smart helps the ball on, which is smart play. It gets behind, but Taylor did well to cover up. Comes across the defensive line, terrific kick, marked by Crawford. Around Tregenza. Steers the pass well. Condon marks in between halfback and wing. He comes up towards half forward. Hudson. Punch came from behind. Tasker. Hudson's got him. Then he goes down. Grabbed by Rashudo. A very wide pass. Too wide for Lee. And the ball out of play.
Peter, I was just having a look at Modra before attacking the football. I'm just wondering if he's carrying an injury. Last week against Collingwood there was a bit of a scare where he hurt his ankle, but he doesn't appear to be running flat out or hasn't got the leap that we know he possesses.
Here's Anthony Condon at half-back, trying to keep it in play. He brings it around the boundary line. Ben Allen there with Ricky Nixon to help out. And eventually it's forced over the line on centre wing. Just over 3 minutes left in this vital third term. Hawthorn desperately trying to come back. Adelaide hanging on well.
Clean possession, Wren. Back he goes to Visca. His left footer bounces out of play, gains about 25 or 30 metres. 79 plays 65. Brown preparing to come back on. Scores were level at quarter time. Crows led by 24 at half time. And at the moment, in the last 3 minutes of the third quarter, the margin's 14 points in favour of the Crows. Platten, a South Australian, trying to beat the South Australian club side here.
Good pressure there.
Centering kick, Smart in front. Moore might have taken that mark. Nugent and Anderson take each other out of it. Jenky was terrific. Langford goes for a bounce. This could be full back to full forward. Langford. Dunstall. Free kick was the decision. It wasn't a mark. It's a free kick to Dunstall.
Great play there from Chris Langford for the second time. We see him coming down, charging down, leaving Modra 50 or 60 metres behind in his wake as Brown comes back onto the ground. I think it was Pittman that came off. Corns has done that a couple of times, interchanging a small for a tall and vice versa, trying to unbalance the Hawthorn defence. But this is a vital goal.
Dunstall for his 5th. He's missed to the right. That's Adelaide cheering. Adelaide fans behind that goal. And it would have been a handy one for Hawthorn.
Well, the Hawks have had plenty of the play. They really have had the chances, Gerard, haven't they, in this term?
Yes, full credit to the Crows. I think they've withstood probably the best that Hawthorn can throw at them. If they can just go in with the same lead they've got now, I'd imagine that they should run out the game winners. But Hawthorn are too experienced in finals to give it up.
Well, a loose ball at half-back. Scott Lee kicks it quickly. Out wide. And it looks like Tasker. It is Sean Tasker.
Certainly given some bite on the wing for Hawthorn, young Crawford, a move that was, in my view, well and truly late in coming.
Well, far too late. Should have started Crawford there. Here's Ben Allen trying to crash his way through. Condon's there also. Scott Lee gets it into Bickley. Bickley goes to ground. Jarman weaves through the pack. That was great play. In towards half forward. Jenky at the back. Good mark, Jenky. Top mark. So he's playing on the left foot because he can see Crawford as he lifted. He's lifted this side on to Paul Cooper. Cooper can chip it wide to Hudson. They've got time to get a goal. Just under a minute to go. Hudson in towards half forward. Dunstall can't mark. Plattner's there. Backup support from Ricky Nixon. It's kicked away. They race after it. Scott Lee will head for the boundary line over. No, he doesn't. He handballs back to Wren. Wren inside. Tony McGuinness. Kicks wide. Jason Taylor waiting for the bounce. They've got 30 seconds, Hawthorn, to get it down there. Here's Condon marking at half forward. Hand pass. Oh, Crawford's had a blitzing third quarter. He kicks it wide. Out there is Dunstall and a beautiful kick by Crawford.
Once again going to that vacancy out on the outer flank. Always Dunstall leads to his right when the ball is coming down on his left-hand side. Hawthorn have been using this strategy for many years and to great success, obviously.
Crawford 9 possessions for the quarter.
It's made the difference. There's the siren. Oh, what a vital kick this is. Dunstall has kicked 4. The Hawks need it. Right on 50. Dunstall kicks. It looks good. He's done it. 5 goals for the champion Hawthorn. The Hawks back in business. Alan Joyce, John Hook coming onto the ground. This is going to be a ding-dong last quarter here at the MCG. That little fellow there has lifted the team. Graham Corns comes out to meet his charges. 3-quarter time at the MCG. What a last quarter it will be. 12-7-79 the Crows. Hawthorn 10-12-72. So the bounce. Season on the line for Hawthorn and the Adelaide Crows. Centre of the ground, very important. Platten gets first blood as he goes forward to the half-forward line. Taken away by Rasciuto. In towards half-forward, Cooper back with the flight of the ball. Nigel Smart read it beautifully. Smart chips it in looking for Modra and he hits him right on the chest, and that's just what Adelaide wanted to start the final term.
Well, he hasn't led like that for most of the day, Peter, and that's his big strength. We know he can take the big grabs in the mark, but this is his bread and butter. When he gets out, takes a mark.
Tony Modra for his 3rd of the game. It drifts, and he has missed. Oh, that's a vital miss to start the final term. And there's a Crow supporter trying to G on her players. Langford doing a fine job on Modra. That would have been handy to Adelaide.
Modra 2 goals, 2 for the day. Kick in by Langford. Taylor taking some good marks.
Been one of the Hawks' best.
Back he goes to Cooper. Slightly towards the outer side. Poor disposal. Nixon was outnumbered 2-1. Now Hudson with desperation, flinging himself at the ball. But they've turned it over. McDermott got it. Platten got a fingernail to it out to Nixon. Crawford slipped. Nixon again. Platten. And hasn't he enjoyed the roving roll after half-time? And the ball's out at right half forward for the Hawks.
Well, we saw his ankle getting plenty of attention at the 3-quarter time huddle, perhaps even a pain-killing injection going in there.
McDermott has been a fine player under Tony McGuinness. To centre wing. Over the back was Cooper and he thumps it back towards the line. And it beats Shane Crawford over. That little man lifted Hawthorn in the 3rd term. There's Darren Baxter, former Footscray half-back. Throw in on centre wing. First goal of this last term, very important. Wren and Deere. Deere wins it. Condon is there. Back up somewhat. Oh, Allen went without it. That was Visca. Now Allen. Allen on towards Platten. Platten go forward and the umpire said a throw.
Oh, wrong.
Umpire's paid a throw at half-back. Free kick. And it will go to Simon Tregenza.
Well, it should have gone against him. It was either a throw or holding it too long. Centre wing. Wren tries to go off the ground. Kicked it back into the pack. Jarman and McGuinness, the 2 11s. Up to Crawford. Ooh, beautiful pass by Crawford. A sizzler right onto the chest of Nixon. Left footer by Ricky Nixon. 35 metres out from goal. He is on the forward line. Couldn't take the mark. Back to the 50. Platten still after it. Going at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Hudson. Round on the right. This is close.
Good move from Hawthorn. Ayres up into the forward line and Gowers in defence.
Hawthorn again. Johnny Platten In towards half forward, it's thumped away. Ricky Nixon went without it. Andrew Jarman, hand pass out wide. Take it away as Anderson. Anderson on the left boot. Jeky should mark. He goes back and he puts his body on the line to take the mark. He can kick it wide to Nugent. Creates a loose man to Jarman. He can chip it across with a handball. Danger for Adelaide. Darren Jarman lopes away. Chips it short to Hall. He can give it back. Oh, good mark by Hall. Desperation.
Bad sign here for the Crows. Greg Anderson just plodding up and down on the ground like a draft horse. Playing against Nugent, who has got the fresh legs, having spent half of the game on the bench.
Allen a good mark. Penetrating kick. Dunstall! A straight kick by Jason Dunstall will put the Hawks in front. And they haven't led since the first 5 minutes when they kicked the first behind of the game. Dunstall for number 6. Hawks down by 2 points. 47 metres out. They're in front.
Randlebone off, the big thump. It was by Dearge. McDermott gives it to Jarman. It's at half back for Hawthorn. Nugent races at it. Back up support by Baxter. A quick hand pass. Out here to Paul Cooper. Cooper at half back. And in the meantime, a free kick to Nugent behind the play.
There's a push out.
Now, Glenn Nugent. Oh, wobbly kick, an ordinary kick in towards half forward. Platten sets himself, punched away from him. Platten dives on it, knocks it out, straight to Jarman. Hand pass further afield. Comes out to Brown. Now Anderson. Langford out in front. And he's killing Modra. He is well on top of Modra. He chips it across and finds Ray Jenke.
Bushmen everywhere.
Condon had time to have a look to see how much space he had. Just behind centre wing. Pops it over the top. Nixon. He's come in late in the season and hasn't let Hawthorn down. Kicked by Nixon. Higher to centre half forward. Hall punches on. Rasciuto there, the youngster in his first season. Oh, well done by Ayres. He just got his hand to that ball. A chance for Hawthorn. Platten gathers. No, he hasn't got it yet. He's 35 metres out, John Platten. Has time to steady. Has to kick high. Dunstall.
Point.
It's over the line. It's over the line. It's a score. Behind the Platten.
What did he try and do then, Platten?
Well, I don't know what he tried to do, but whatever it was, it didn't work out. I think he just wanted to get that little bit closer to goal to make more certainty of his shot at goal, but in the end, put himself under pressure.
5 points the margin. Lee, oh, look at the mark for Crawford. Top mark to little Shane Crawford. The Hawks really with the run at the moment. Adelaide will have to produce something to stem the tide here, Gerard.
Well, they pushed Andrew Jarman out onto the half-forward flank. Imagine McDermott has come into the middle.
Oh, short pass to Greg Deere, and it hits him right on the chest.
Good work by Deere. Wren, as we know, would be just floating back trying to block up the Dunstall lead and give assistance as if Crawford has a shot at goal, which allows this man on screen to be free. Now, he floated down nicely, found some space. The Crows defenders weren't awake. Bang, he's got a shot at goal.
It's not normally a long kick.
Hasn't kicked a goal this year.
You'll have to kick from 52 metres. He's straight up in the air. He's hooked it. They need someone to take a mark. They fly. Platten tries to tap it down. Lays the tackle. And eventually, well, it's still in play, and then eventually hits the behind post. So it'll be a throw-in. Still in the danger zone for Adelaide.
Hawks lead by 5 points. 18 minutes to go in the elimination final. The loser out for the season. The winner into the second semi-final. Deere gets very high. McDermott blocked by Ayres. The two skippers lock horns there, and the umpire comes in and will ball it up. Well, you wonder at this stage what counts. Is it finals experience? If it is, Hawthorn combined have played 154 finals. Adelaide have played 7, all from Greg Anderson in his days at Essendon. Rasciuto, a youngster in his first season. Oh, well done by Hall. Hudson back over his shoulder, but out of bounds on the full.
It's a free kick being paid.
Penalty kick down in that back pocket area. Still not out of the danger zone. And Ayres got the wild kick in the hand. Let's see what happened to Gary Ayres. It goes down. Oh, the kick. A wild kick in that pack was by Mark Rasciuto, and he looks as though he's okay though now, Ayres, as we see Tony McGuinness. To the half-back line, looking for Wren. Gear at the back, goes for the fist. Scott Lee. A hand pass further afield.
It's a booking.
And someone has been booked. Who is it? Condon.
Anthony Condon.
Condon has been booked on Scott Lee. So that's the last thing Hawthorn want. 55,287 the official attendance as Chris McDermott takes Adelaide towards centre wing. Up they go. The ball hits the deck. Liptak and McGuinness. Out there is Bickley. The Crows trying to force it forward. Allen is there and lays the tackle on Nigel Smart. There'll be a bounce.
Well, Bickley's one player along with McGuinness that I think need to give the Crows a lift through the middle of the ground. They were magnificent for the first 2.5 quarters. We've just faded a little bit as we see a major imbalance in marking of the ball in this final quarter, and that just signifies that Hawthorn are in control.
They take it over centre wing again. McDermott's back there. Backs himself against Hudson. He lost that one. Hudson goes in to apply a second tackle. The hand pass into Lee. They're running now. Tregenza. But they're doing things in a big hurry. Brown's kick smothered by Nugent. Nugent burst clear. His kick smothered. Ooh, solid body work there. Jarman gives away the free kick. To be taken by Greg Anderson. Chris McDermott bleeding. Anderson coming up for his 23rd disposal. 30 metres from goal. Wiedemann up, but gee, Jenke has played a top game. Depressed fracture of the cheekbone and all. Nugent spins out of a tackle. Weaves past another one. Kicks towards the cricket pitch area. Nixon, the bounce is vital here. It goes the Crows' way. Visca, the hand pass to Anderson.
Greg Anderson in towards the pocket. Modra can't mark. Over the back is Baxter. He mops up. Quick hand pass on the Platten. Platten a wobbly kick. Which way will it bounce? Racing at it is Brown. Jarman is there. Darren Jarman with skill. Pops it out. He's looking for young Crawford who races after it. The youngster has got it. He can handball or he can kick it. He's got to pass it inside into Hudson. Hudson still going on with it. Gets in a quick hand pass. Taken away by Rashudo. Back to McDermott. Rashudo in towards half forward. Over the back of the pack. Smart and Taylor. Jason Taylor. A fumble. Liptak on the McGuinness. Tony McGuinness kicks it straight into the hands of the waiting Chris Langford, who sprints away and kicks it out wide to Tony Hall. Now, which way will it bounce? He's got it, Hall. He can go inside, and he's found Paul Cooper.
Cooper wasn't too sure. Not a great hand pass. Bickley applies the tackle. No whistle. It comes to Hall. They muck that up in the middle, but Condon gets the hand pass away. Cooper. Ayres is swamped and will take a free kick. Gary Ayres. Advantage played. It comes to Nugent in his first final. Glenn Nugent, but it's offline and a behind. The margin, one straight kick, 6 points.
Boy, would that have been a handy one, but he missed. Sean Wren, centre of the ground. Crawford, a great mark. Now he can chip it in short. The leads are coming from everywhere. He's going back though to bring it out to the half-forward line. Dunstall.
Oh, has to be a
free kick.
Yep.
Free kick. Jason Dunstall pushed right in the middle of the back. Well, if he kicks this, let's have a look at it. Now you'll see it as he sets his eyes on it.
It wasn't against Jamison. It was against Rashudo coming in from the front. I think he might have just even copped Dunstall on the knee, on the thigh there, giving him a bit of a corky.
Jason Dunstall has kicked 6. He was directly in front. It's a wobbly one. Oh, it hits a post. This game's got everything. 7 points the margin in favour of Hawthorn.
6 goals, 3 Jason Dunstall. 12-15 Hawthorn, 12 goals, 8 Adelaide. Jamison straight up the middle. We've got 13 minutes left. Jarman Darren Jarman goes on quickly. All Hawthorn. Platten takes the mark. He's only 20 metres out. He goes for goal but misses. Well, he's had two unaccountable misses in the last quarter, John Platten. And Dermot Brereton looking edgy on his seat in the grandstand. The Hawks by 8 points.
Well, they really could have buried the Crows. They've had all the play. They're dominating everywhere.
They push Liptak up onto the ball. They need some drive through the middle, the Crows.
Here. And a good knock-on by Wren. The ball in the centre of the ground. Jarman hooks it back. Danger again for Adelaide. Scott Lee. Hudson. And it's play on. Hudson on the left foot. Oh, he's blazed away and put it out in the full. You wouldn't believe it.
Well, you wouldn't believe it with Dunstall 35 metres clear. Fortunately, players of the ilk of Hudson can only see goals when they get the ball within 30 metres.
McDermott, this is far from over. 12 and a quarter minutes left, and the margin is 8 points in favour of Hawthorn. A bad one, and Crawford marks near the centre of the ground. The score for Paul Hudson today is 2 goals, 2 behinds, and 3 out of bounds on the full. Platten at centre wing. He's come to life after half-time. Good punch away by Tasker. Lee to Andrew Jarman. The kick by Jarman for Smart. Moving well, Nigel Smart. Modra leads towards the pocket. Kick drops short. The hand pass floats back. Knocked away from Tregenza by Langford, who was happy to leave Modra. Is Platten at half-back. This is still Chris Langford, a mile up the ground from Modra. Allen gets a bad bounce. Lee does well for Adelaide. Jarman comes in. Bickley. Oh, Liptak, dangerous. Liptak goes as long as he can. McGuinness is there. It bounces for a goal.
Fight back. 2 points the margin. Wren wins it. Tony McGuinness receives from Tregenza. In towards half forward. Langford the big fist away. Still the Crows. Wigney. Now Nigel Smart. He's kicked it. Yes. Crows in front. Well, would you have believed this? 88 to 92. And Adelaide lead by 4 points.
Well, the Hawks have only got themselves to blame for their precarious position now because they've had 5 or 6 relatively easy shots at goal. They are the final specialists. And the Crows are showing them how to kick goals under pressure at the other end of the ground. There's young Ben Hart. Boy, would he like to be out there. Perhaps he'll get his taste next week.
Adelaide by 4 points. Just under 11 minutes to go. We can't get a draw. We'll play extra time to decide a winner here if the scores are level at full time. The season for both clubs on the line here in the last 10 minutes. Mothballs for the loser, second semi for the winner. Hawthorn led for a good couple of minutes at the start of the game. Adelaide led most of the day. Hawthorn regained the lead and the Crows have it back. Wiedemann rides a high knock. He goes back to Andrew Jarman, to full forward. Modra gets underneath it. Picked off the ground by Smart. He dribbles for another one, but it just gets offline. Through for a behind, and the margin's 5 points in favour of the Crows.
Mark Mickett looking on. We're under the 10-minute mark to go. Hawthorn have dominated since half-time. They have really missed a lot of easy shots. But the Crows fighting it right out. Ice tap straight to Jarman. Oh, look at this, out wide the mark. Play on, calls the umpire. Wigney hooks it back at goal. It floats, and he's missed. 6 points the margin.
The Hawks have got to get something going from this kick out. Crows are using the zone defence quite well. Rebounding Chris Langford's kicks quite easily.
In the centre square. And that's an excellent mark taken by Gowers. 94 to 88. Adelaide leading. In their first ever final in the AFL. The kick by Gowers. Nixon had his back to the ball. But they force a ball up. Just forward of centre wing for Hawthorn. McDermott saying, "You are kidding, umpire." Umpires in charge, Darren Goldspink, David Howlett. And just for the record, free kicks at 23 to 17 in favour of Hawthorn. Deere wins the tap to Condon. Fires out the hand pass to Nixon. Penetrating kick. Dunstall, it missed him. He got a fingernail to it though. Happy to rush it behind is Rasciuto, the youngster. And that makes the margin 5 points. So in a tight game, that is something.
Paul Deere looks on. The chip pass. Liptak has been a terrific player. Matthew Liptak, he's playing on. He brings it to the half-back line. Tony Hall and Tasker. Hall, desperation. Goes back and thumps it over the line.
Just not sure of the value of having Gary Ayres down in that forward pocket for Hawthorn. He seems to be crowding up Jason Dunstall, and his man Tasker is also coming across with Jamison to push the goal-kicking champ out.
Half forward for Hawthorn as they run at it, and it's forced over the line again. 5 points the margin, Adelaide leads. Stephen Kernahan and Greg Williams, they look on. They play the winners next week. Wren gets it to ground to Liptak. Oh, that was great play to Anderson. Anderson sprints clear. He brings it in towards the pocket. Modra dives and marks a great mark.
Oh, that's a special. A real hamstring stretcher.
Tony Modra will kick from 50. And if he kicks it, they'll be 11 points in front. He kicks it across the face. The Hawks fly and try and force it through. They do. So it's 6 points the margin. 7.5 minutes of play left in this game.
Nervous faces from players who didn't get a game and supporters in the crowd and potential opponents next week. And I can just imagine Adelaide and the whole state of South Australia watching on television. They'll be biting the fingernails to the elbow. Adelaide leading by one straight kick. Langford kicks in. Wren marks on his chest.
Once again, the Hawthorn kick out being repelled too easily.
Goes for the short pass. Too short of McGuinness. Good hand pass. Off to Liptak. Liptak snaps. And misses.
Boy.
Could be vital. 7 points the margin.
Would that have topped off a magnificent game?
Stephen Rowe looks on. He'd love to be out there. Look at the Crows supporters. Chris Langford to half-back Wren and the man in front, Deere. So Greg Deere at half-back. He can handball it on here. Condon. They should be looking for the long kick. He chips it wide to Cooper. Cooper a hurried kick. Hudson waiting at the back. Lee takes the ball. Gives it across Tregenza. Another player slips over. That was Darren Jarman. Simon Tregenza sprints clear. Brings it in towards Wigney, who marks 60 metres from goal. Stuart Wigney's got an open goal. He's going to go for the long kick. It's a booming kick. Modra and Langford. And Langford punches it through. Could be a goal. Yes!
I think we've lost the football. That has gone into the Adelaide section of the crowd down there, and it'd be some sort of a souvenir, wouldn't it? If the Crows win their first ever final and you go home with the footy, we can be able to sell it for thousands years down the track. And with the way the Eagles won yesterday, it's put the Crows in this premiership race with certainly a chance. Wren wins in the middle. Wiedemann a little hand pass. Liptak again. Modra in front, but no mark. Wigney, 3 goals after half-time. If he was a gamble, it's paid off. Liptak! Across the face, good mark in the goal square, Jenke.
Liptak is now matching up against Ben Allen, and he's just destroying Hawthorn with his drive out of the middle, particularly the centre bounces, the all-important centre bounces.
Chip pass. Costa Crawford, they've really got to get it moving quickly, the Hawks. Another chip pass. Oh, that's dangerous. That's poor play. Poor play. You've got to kick it long out of defence and get it going. As we see Chris McDermott, who's been a terrific player, playing in half-back for Adelaide. He wanted to win this game desperately. McDermott. Beautiful kick in towards full forward. Langford sets himself. It's a mark to Adelaide. Nigel Smartest mark, 20 metres out. almost directly in front. I think that could be shut the gate to the Hawks for 1993.
Well, it looks as though the trip over to Melbourne from Adelaide for 20,000 spectators has been worth every bit of it.
Nigel Smart directly in front. Kicks, and the Crow supporters jump with glee. It's through for a goal.
Amazing that the Crows haven't been able to win in Melbourne since round 1 this year, and that was against Richmond. So they come to a final and they win in September. Well, there's still 4.25 minutes left. Couldn't see Hawthorn winning it from here. McGuinness regains his footing, gets boot to ball. Wren. The hand pass is blind. Allen gets it going forward, grabbed by Darren Jarman. 108 plays 89. Jarman's kick bounces, goes straight past Dunstall. Jamieson at the back, floats the hand pass to Anderson. The Crows look home. The kick by Anderson to half forward. Gowers off the left. Just past Greg Anderson. Out of bounds will do them. Although Rasciuto keeps it in. Anderson to Smart. Now Andrew Jarman. Jarman thumps it to full forward. Modra works to the front. No mark. Wiedemann. The hand pass back over the head of Smart. We've got 3.5 minutes left. Smart wide for Jarman. He balks. He gets past Wiedemann. The crowd yelling, "Weed, weed, weed." He goes for goal and misses. But at 109 to 89, Hawthorn need 4 goals to win in 3.25 minutes.
Oh, there's Andy Collins. He was beaten by McGuinness early. Copped a very heavy knock. And he looked as though he was resigned to defeat there. Top performance by the Crows, because really Hawthorn had got right on top, Gerard, and were bolting away with it.
And how about the noise the supporters are making?
Liptak again, he has been fantastic, as has Chris Langford for Hawthorn. He hasn't let them down. Now he plays on. Kicks it wide. He's looking there for Gowers and Jason Taylor. Taylor marks. Gives it to Platten. The last hurrah by Hawthorn as they go forward. Nugent. Allen. Platten. The lead is on. The kick is wide. Dunstall. Oh, he was beaten for it this time by Rodney Jamieson, who did it very, very well.
Jamieson goes out wide. At half-back flank is Lee. Spent a lot of the game on the bench. McGuinness. Here's pass to half-forward. Wigney has been a real surprise. Playing just his 3rd game for the Crows. His 4th AFL game in 2 seasons. And he's come on and kicked 3 goals after half-time. And that's about the margin, 3 goals. Kick by Tregenza. Pops it up high for Wren. He's got the height. Tall men don't get short at the end of a hard game.
Particularly when they're unmatched. Wren just repaying a favour for Greg Deere, who did it at the other end of the ground early in the last quarter. Well disguised there by Simon Tregenza. It's a Tony Shaw special, that one, looking at going for the long one, then just a chip kick over. But dare I say it, Magga, that the Crows are only 4 quarters away from playing in their first grand final.
That's right, they meet Carlton next week as we see Wren kicking from 20 metres. And what's he done? He's missed. But it won't make any difference. We're down under 1.5 minutes to go, Drew. And the Crows supporters are jubilant, and there are plenty of them.
Oh, it's just been a fantastic performance. And well done the crowd who made the effort to get here, because I'm sure it made the Crows feel a lot happier with somebody actually yelling for the good things they've done. Nigel Smart. Wigney wants it long. Smart goes long. Wigney not without a chance. Langford just gets boot to ball. Crawford. Well, when Hawthorn rested the lead back in the last quarter, you'd have backed them, but the Crows have done remarkably well to hit back. Gowers gets it going forward. Whistle's gone. It's going to be a free kick to Gowers.
I think the Crows' victory must also be seen in the light that Modra really has been totally eclipsed at full forward by Chris Langford.
Fall. Back with the flight. And Tony Hall marks. As the time clock ticks down, with a terrific victory this will be by Adelaide. 7 marks he's taken, Tony Hall. It's tried his heart out as usual. They had their chance, the Hawks. They could have buried Adelaide early in this last term, and they blew it as Hall kicks from 50 metres. Will it clear the pack? It does. A goal to the Hawks. And that's Hall's third. But it won't ease the pain for the Hawks because they trail by 15 points.
Well, I must admit.
Yes, well, Gow was a little bit disappointing today. Started up forward and was totally eclipsed by Chris McDermott. Tony Hall had a good battle with Rashudo. Got on top early. Rashudo's taken the honours at the end of the day.
13 seconds left. The Crows by 15 points. An historic win in their first ever final. Liptak to Brown. Will they add another one? Brown spent a lot of the time on the bench. Plenty of pace in the legs. His left footer just doesn't make it. Gowers takes the mark. There's the siren. The Crows, with their own bit of history, have knocked off the mighty Hawks. And in their first attempt at AFL finals, they've advanced to the second semi. Max Stevens is down there amongst the Crows.
Wayne Wiedemann, congratulations. I mean, one hell of a game there. A little while in that last quarter. It nearly went away from you, but you came back.
Yeah, the boys probably jumped their head off a bit in the first about 10 minutes or so, but the boys started to get back a bit and get into those harder balls, and once a few blokes started to do that, everyone lifted, and well, the rest is history.
Graham Corns was pretty fired up at three-quarter time.
Oh yeah, he was. He just said to keep at it, and although we're doing a few fundamental things wrong, but keep at it, it'll come.
Highlight of your career?
Oh, most certainly. It's fantastic.
Okay, thanks for talking with us, mate. Thank you.
Well, any Adelaide people who snapped up odds of about 20 to 1, which you could have got before yesterday's game at Waverley, on the Crows to win the flag, might be very happy. Graham Corns now with Max.
Graham Corns, congratulations. I mean, one game away from playing in your first grand final, or coaching.
The important thing is at least gives us 2 games. It was a great effort by these guys against quality opposition, and we can't buy that experience, and it's been a tremendous day.
Okay, thanks for talking with us, Graham, and well done.
Well, what a year Graham Corns has had. South Australia State of Origin victory here, and now the Crows. And the Jarman brothers, Darren and Andrew, at the end of the game. Andrew, the older brother, by 1 year and 2 weeks. And he's the victor today. Again, Max Stevens.
Matthew Liptak, I mean, last week, again this week, you're surprising yourself with the way you're playing?
Just found a bit of form. It's great to find it at the right time of the year.
Just tell me the preparation for this game. I mean, 1 game away from playing in a grand final now.
We're in the hunt now, aren't we? We've got 1 game to go, and we're going to push it all the way.
Right, a team performance today. At one stage there, I was just saying to Wade and Wiedemann, the game could have turned in that last quarter, but you just hang on, just kept playing that great football that you play at Football Park, but now you're doing it at the MCG.
Yeah, it was a great day today. I think we had a lot of spectators here, a lot of crowd, and we were really G'd on by them and sort of G'd on to really improve this week in Melbourne.
A lot of people watching back at Chris McDermott's hotel. I'm sure you'd like to say something to the fans back in Adelaide.
Adelaide. How about that, fellas? Adelaide. Thanks a lot for the support.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. We'll leave it there.
Well, they can see the pictures over there. I'm sure they can hear the interview with the noise that would be going on there. Look at these Adelaide fans. They are absolutely rapt. History made here today with the Crows in their 3rd season in the AFL, winning their first ever final at the MCG against the mighty Hawthorn. The margin was 15 points, 16-14, 110 to Hawthorn, 13-17, 95.
The name of the game is Australia.
Play Monopoly at McDonald's. Get your game card, scratch 3 game pieces, and match the property group to win a super Samsung prize. TVs, hi-fis, video recorders.
They make history at the MCG. They lost the lead to Hawthorn in the last quarter, but came back and won by 15 points. 16-14, 110 to Hawthorn, 13-17, 95. Leading goal scorers, Smart finished up with 4, Wigney got 3, Liptak 3, Modra only kicked 2, and Bone got 2. For Hawthorn, Dunstall kicked 6 and Hall kicked 3 goals. Well, quite remarkable scenes here, and how happy are all these Adelaide Crows supporters who have made the journey over here. It looks like Melbourne Cup Day, the way they've dressed up, and they have had a day to remember.
They certainly have a top performance, Drew, and I think Jared would agree, because early in that last quarter it looked like Hawthorn, with their finals experience, were going to run right over the top of the Crows. They missed a couple of vital shots at goal, but to Adelaide's credit, they really did lift a notch and came back.
Well, you can't deny that. And I think one thing they did prove was that they can win games without Modra dominating. They had 7 individual goal scorers, and before today I pinpointed that as a potential weakness. Modra has by far and away been their highest goal kicker, and I think Liptak with 23 or 4 has been their second. But what about Liptak's game? Wasn't that magnificent? The start of the first half, he was just in and around up forward. He went onto the ball in the second half. He won it out of the middle. He kicked goals. He handballed. He pressured and he tackled. I'd say, without doubt, perhaps his best ever game.
Yes, and he's hit form at the right, as he said in the interview, he's hit form at the right time of the season, Matthew Liptak. We know he's a real little go. There's the Hawthorn rooms, and look at the despondency on the I thought Darren Jarman again has failed in a final. I thought it was a very ordinary game by Darren. He's got enormous ability. He just hasn't produced in finals.
Well, I want to be too critical of the Hawthorn coaching staff, but boy, I just didn't like the way they matched up. They had the winning formula there at Waverley 2 weeks ago, and yet they abandoned it. Perhaps they just out-coached themselves, as often coaches can do.
Well, they brought Stephen Lawrence into the side after he's been in the seconds for a few weeks. Now, whether they worried about Pittman, you don't worry about a centre back. You let the backman worry about the forwards. They put Lawrence at centre forward. He's played there numerous times and has never succeeded at centre forward or centre back. And for a cutthroat game, they played him there, and I thought it was a bad move. And young Crawford definitely should have started.
Well, I think leg speed was going to be their potential match loser, and they started with their 2 quickest players on the bench, Nugent and of course Crawford. And there's the stats. Well, the wash-up will show that Adelaide's had a lot more handballs, just a little bit down in kicks. Look at the centre breaks. Adelaide dominated again, as they did against Collingwood last week. The free kicks, well, they went Hawthorn's way, but the only stat that counts in a final is that who won on the scoreboard.
That's exactly right. Marks 113 to 61 to Hawthorn. That just shows how much of the ball they did control, Jared.
Yeah, they chipped it around a little bit. That's always been a strength of Adelaide's, but I think Adelaide played more corridor football today. They went down the middle, and they certainly showed Hawthorn how to play it.
And the one stat that is very, very important is, as we said, is that centre break one. 19 to 11. I reckon that is just never underestimated, that centre break stat.
And the interesting thing is that it's a hat-trick. In the 3 finals, the team which finished below the other team has won. Today, Adelaide 5th defeated Hawthorn 4th on the ladder. Let's take a look at the lineups for the semi-finals next week. The second semi-final is on Saturday at Waverley. It's Carlton against Adelaide. So the Crows will have a 6-day week next week. And the first semi-final is on Sunday at the MCG, Essendon against the West Coast. They played here about a month ago, and Paul Salmon won the game on the siren. So a repeat of that will be another terrific game. So, next week's semi-finals are looking great in the AFL. Let's take a look at what's coming up on 7 Sport. The Tooheys 1000, the great race on semi-finals. Hawthorn eliminated at the MCG.
On today's finals flashback, we go back to the 1990 qualifying final when Collingwood battled West Coast at Waverley. It was a game that went down to the last kick.
That is a magic goal. That is a magic goal. Let's go today so far. In comes Brown. Collingwood lifting. Brown right on the boundary line. Back to Mullane likewise. Dacos nearly runs out of room. He scores! Magnificent goal. Behind him we've got a tie. Langdon hoisted high.